Yep. This matches what they got on the site. Oh no, it doesn't. No. That's interesting.
What happened?
Netflix, they put Netflix as number 2 on my 3DS thing. And I'm looking at my list, and it's nowhere near. It's not even on here. So it must be.
It's all Calvin Ball, man. It's Calvin
Ball. I wonder
Ball.
if it's calculating.
That's
like
a great term for what is for all of this.
I wonder
Calvin
if it's
Ball. It's just making up. It reminds me of the. There was a friend of mine who he and his friend that I roomed with in college. They told me about a game that they used to play every summer called Loose Ball.
Loose
and basically,
ball?
yeah, here's the game. Everyone stands on the edge of the pool. So you already know this is dangerous because it involves water. All right.
Yeah.
It involves teenage boys in water. All right. And so someone throws like one of those dollar store bouncy balls, you know, like the ones that are like a kickball, but they're not really a kickball. Like it's just a rubber ball that's about this big around. They throw it in the water and yell loose ball. And everyone tries to grab it.
Aye.
And then your job is to get the ball away from the person who grabs it. And when they do, you yell loose ball. Play continues until everyone quits or everyone is
or
injured.
dies. Yeah.
That's literally what they told me. We play until we're tired or enough people have gotten hurt that we feel bad.
In the computer industry, we call that an infinite loop.
So I wonder if it's calculating anybody who's in your family plan, or not family plan, but that's in your family, I guess, at the time, because you could have people in your family. So because Netflix, like I said, Netflix is not on here. And I was wondering why this was showing as number 2. And the only thing I could think of is like Sammy was using my 3DS, but I never had. Hardly ever. If I did have it on there, I maybe had it for a few minutes and then I took Netflix off.
Right.
So I don't know why it's number 2 on my list.
My son's our account for 3DS is awesome. I'll talk about that when we get there.
But yeah, we'll talk about that more, I guess, when we talk about these memories thing.
Yeah. So we're ready to, Tim, you going to lead us in this week?
Let's see. Yes, I can. Let me more crumble cookies. More crumble cookie.
Oh, hey. I got crumble cookies today.
Yeah.
I was very proud.
I need to order that when I'm fully
I got the
healed.
I want
chocolate
cookies.
strawberry cheesecake, the chocolate caramel, and the vanilla sugar cookie, the Valentine sugar cookie. Those are the ones I wanted. So, all right,
okay,
let's do a show.
All right, you guys ready? I see we're on.
Crumble
ready.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. Welcome to Nintendo Dads, episode 363, recorded on February 17th, 2022. On tonight's episode with special guest Seth Sturgill, we discuss 3DS and Wii U memories because Nintendo is taking it out back and shooting it like Old Yeller. Just so you know what to do.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's episode 363 of Nintendo Dads, and it's February 17th, 2022. My name is Marty Estes, and we want to thank you for listening to one of the Nintendo podcasts on the internet. Joining me tonight on the show is a couple of our usual cast of characters and a special guest. Say hello to Jesse Waldack. How you doing, buddy?
I'm feeling better than last week. Robo Jesse is still sitting on the charger. He's not going to be with us this week. We will bring him back. We had surprisingly a high number of positive feedback about that.
Can we talk about the fact that Robo Jesse is probably one of the most popular things that we've done in my 5-year run of the show here.
I know.
The merch
we didn't-
opportunities.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's tons of potential.
It's not a coincidence that I got an email from Canva, which we use for our art of the thumbnails, saying that this week's contest is robots.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
You listen, Robo Jesse's future is so bright that he has to wear shades. I mean, the sky's the limit. Also joining us on the show this week, all the way from the snowy white north, it's not Justin Masson. No, it's Tim Off. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, I'm thankful that my wife and daughter were able to make it back home after driving out in that snowy white mess.
Is it really snowy?
Is that right?
It is actually really snowy.
Wow.
Almost. We're just shy of a foot here, which is the most snow we've had at one time.
I'm just gonna say this. I live here in the South, if you can't tell, where for 340 or so days out of the year, 45 days out of the year, it's 75 degrees, and it's a sweaty
we're gonna
hellscape
move
outside.
in next door to you. Just to let you know, we're
Well,
moving
we have
down
some
there with you.
property we'll sell you. But I just want to say that, like, as a person who lives in the South, the assumption for me as a Southerner is that for 345 days out of the year, that you guys have snow on the ground.
Yep.
Like
That's
July, June, snow.
So that's
works.
Canada. That's Canada.
Or
we
We're
get
close to
it.
Canada.
We get it about 200 days.
Okay, well, I would like to be there. I'm serious. I love gloomy. I could do Seattle.
Yeah.
I think.
Me too.
Rain.
Okay.
Yep.
Rainy days are my fave. But anyway, enough about me. Tim, you're doing okay, obviously.
Yeah, everybody's safe in the house now. We're all nice
Leaving
and
the
warm
house
and toasty.
warm.
Yes.
You have warm cookies.
And yes, my daughter brought home from her work, where she works, the crumble cookie box, and just set it
Yeah.
down next to me.
And so, I mean, guys, listen here.
So-
Let's just throw it out there. Crumble Cookie, if you're listening, we'll take a sponsorship. I mean, just use the code NINDADS and get $10 off your next box of cookies. Get some crumbs.
Yes.
We do it.
And please don't try
listen.
that and come back and say that didn't work.
Yeah,
'cause
no.
Don't
Yeah,
try
it's
that
not-
code.
It's not going to work.
It's really
I
not
promise.
going to work.
I promise. The code's actually Robo Jesse.
Yeah.
Also
I looked-
joining us.
I looked at the radar when the snow ended here, and everything moved east. And I don't think I've ever seen a line of precipitation from the Gulf all the way into Maine.
Mhm.
I've seen it. I've
Yeah,
seen
we just got rain and
lines
winds
before.
Thanks.
But this literally the entire nation, north to south,
Yep.
got wet.
Somebody's getting. Yep. It's affecting everywhere. Speaking of it, it's affecting everywhere. Joining us on the show this week, special guest from the All In podcast. It's $2 hero Seth Sturgill. How you doing, buddy?
It's me. I'm doing great, man. Thank you guys so much for having me back. I am thrilled to be hanging out with you guys. I am starting to feel like, last time Justin wasn't here, this time he's not here. What's going on, man? Is Justin like avoiding me? Like what's the deal?
He's in a
your-
box.
it
He's in that
intimidates him.
box behind me.
Oh, okay.
We didn't let him out. Sorry.
Got it. No worries.
Yeah. Justin. We don't know. I mean,
That's
like
fair.
he's just
That's fair.
He's free range. He's like
I love you,
he's
Justin.
like a chicken. He's
Look,
free range. Yeah.
I love Justin. I want to podcast with Justin one day. I'm like, come on,
you tell
man.
him. You tell him. Because he pumped you up. He was like, oh yeah, so
Right.
Sturgill's going to be on. Now let me ask you this: is it Sturgill or Sturgill?
Sturgill.
All right. I just want to be sure.
Yeah, we that was
Yes, I
just
got
as
it right.
confusing.
Woo.
You
Well,
got
listen,
it right, Tim.
I did too,
Respect.
but listen, like as
Yes.
a guy whose last name you can add a letter and it rhymes with testes, so
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
we get it all the time. When Marty
I got
Estes,
every
No, it's
variation.
not. Or here was my favorite today. I go to Crumble Cookie today to get some cookies, and the girl comes up and is like, "Is Marty here?" Marty, and I was like, Marty's here.
Hey,
Speaking of being here,
there he
it's
is.
Justin Masson.
Oh
As
my
if
gosh.
Justin-
Speak of the devil, and here,
I
right
heard
here.
my name called yet 3 times by Seth. and I said I shall show.
Nice. like Bloody Mary saying it in the mirror, saying it on a podcast, and there he is.
There he is. That's what happens, right? Sure. Look,
how you doing, buddy?
I'm sorry, guys. I literally we're watching right now in the background. I mean, see it. Twitch stream going on right there.
Love it. Look, I'm moving on one. I'm moving on the other.
Yeah.
Time paradox.
Well, yeah, sorry I can't be on, but man, Seth, thank you for jumping in, and just shoot me a DM and let's figure out how I can be on your show.
Of course. Absolutely.
Oh, so you'll be on his show, but you won't be on our show?
Well, the difference though here, Marty, and this is critical, I like him.
That's
the core
He's tired of us.
I like him.
He's tired of us now.
He is.
You guys are all
we have outlived our usefulness.
He's
last
bored.
year's model.
He wants to turn everyone else into robots.
Yes,
I know, slowly but surely. I mean, it just reduces my payroll. Really,
it's more efficient. It's more efficient. It's just
true.
easy business.
It's true.
100%.
It's true.
that's going to be a funny episode. We're going to have Justin do an episode where he just has to hit a button for each person's role, and it'll be a robot voice.
I just want you to know that even if you don't like us, we like you. So that's okay.
I appreciate you guys. Well, I'm excited to hear what you think of the Retro Studios Twitter changing out in Metroid. Right,
huge news.
Nintendo shutting down 3DS and Wii U eShops because that's a thing. And also, why did Nintendo tell us not to post anything on social media about Nintendo Switch Sports? All that live this episode of Nintendo Dads.
Come on. The
And
professionalism.
That's exactly
Come
what I thought
on.
he was gonna do.
Mic dropped. Mic drop.
So yeah, with that kind of introduction, I mean, crap, all we can do is just dive right into the show, right? So let's do it. And our show each and every week is brought to you guys by you over at patreon.com/Nintendo Dads, where for as little as $1 a month, you can go and join up in one of the most fantastic communities you will ever be a part of, where we're talking about all kinds of things. If you join at the $5 level, you can check out all of the things that we're talking about, including, I'm going to pull up some channels here. These are actual sub-channel names in the Nintendo Dads Discord. I'm going to try to pronounce this, which I think is, where does he get all those wonderful toys? It's just been shortened. Also, here's my favorite one. Jesse, I think you know this sound effect.
I don't know which one you mean.
Woo! Ric Flair.
Oh, okay.
Woo! That's literally it. Wallpapers and artwork. Snack Dads, one of my favorites. Dad Posium, Adulting, Parenting, and Life Arts Academy. Pokemon Spoilers. Yep, we do that there. As well as the Bounty Board provided by Dads After Dark and the Monthly Mayhem. Woo! There's all kinds of things going on over there. $5
That's only
a
a fraction of what you can get.
Yeah. For the price of a crumble cookie, you can be a part of a fantastic. We're going to say it so much. We're going to
be forced to act.
They're going to get my daughter's going to get a letter from her job.
Here's what you need to do. Listen. If you're listening to this right now, here's what you need to do. Right. You go to your nearest crumble cookie tomorrow and ask them to sponsor Nintendo Dads. Ask them to send us money.
Yes.
And when it starts rolling in, we'll know that you've been at work. All right.
Yes.
So, but anyway, you can join up. $10 a month gets you pre and post show audio and exclusive artwork, and $30 gets you on the show as a Patreon producer. And you know what? If you pay by the year, you get a month free because we like you. It's a steal of a deal. It's a deal of a steal. So head on over to patreon.com/Nintendo Dads. Sign up today. Awesome. We're also sponsored by Manscaped, Gooder, and some other stuff coming down the pike. And we'll talk about that later on. Right? All right. Let's hit the news. Lots to talk about. Happy birthday to Chris HL, the only man that I know that loves NHL 94 Rewind more than Tim Off. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, sir. No, all joking aside, fantastic member of the community. And if you're like amazing. Chris and you pay us to talk about it, we will mention your birthday on the show as well. So there you go. Yes. Also, other big news. We're just doing some flyover on this before we get to the big stuff. The Capcom website currently has a countdown timer that is counting down to 0. That should hit 0 on Monday morning, which is about midnight CDT. right? Am I right in that? Because somebody
CST.
put CST.
It is CST. We're not in daylight savings time. Not daylight savings time starts in March.
I don't know
Just
how
say,
that works.
just choose
I just
one.
work here.
One time you got on to me for saying CDT.
And then if I type a time zone, it's always right.
Okay, well, you are a robot, so that's okay.
There you go.
Central Standard Time. We'll talk about it more on the show next week, but we'd love to hear your guesses, especially if you're in the chat right now. Tim will be monitoring that. We'll call out some of those guesses. I'm going to guess it's more Monster Hunter crap that nobody cares about. But anyway, it's not going to be anything good
he's
like
hoping
Street
for
Fighter
Mega
or a
Man
new
stuff.
Mega Man or anything like that. So, yeah. Speaking of fighting, G.I. Joe characters Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow will join Brawlhalla next week, February 23rd. Other G.I. Joe themed in-game items will also be revealed next week before the event launches. I'm going to say this. If it's not guns that shoot red and blue lasers, what are you doing?
and
Nice.
make those noises too.
Yeah, they got to. Really, I was hoping that Cobra Commander would be one of them.
Yeah.
And then who would turn into a snake.
Cobra.
You know.
New soundbite right there.
Can I ask a question? Did
And
anybody
that's why I
else
didn't talk last week, because that's what I sounded like.
did anybody else's childhood get screwed up by the G.I. Joe movie?
It was the Transformers movie for me, man.
No.
That was the
Oh
thing that
yeah,
screwed
really. I
me
mean,
up.
they killed
That-
Optimus Prime, and
G.I.
that was
Joe
like
movie
the
blew
death of
my
innocence.
mind.
I don't
That
know. I
blew
was a
my
little
mind.
older.
Like the
than-
G.I. Joe movie, though, is so
It kind of freaked me out a little bit.
it's
just how
freaky.
it was.
It's freaky because
Yeah.
all of a sudden, like you go from this like okay, let's just say this. I mean, G.I. Joe is not reality, right? Like, I mean, it's not like there's definitely not anybody charging into war dressed as Sergeant Slaughter, but
There's not.
like it had
What? Wait a
it
minute.
had a basis in reality, like like it was people fighting each other. And then you get to the G.I. Joe movie, and aside from that absolute banger of an opening track where they're fighting around the song where they're fighting
Yep.
around the Statue of Liberty,
Yes.
Cobra. That was so
Yes.
good. But then it goes from there and it gets into like, they go from there to Snake Men. You know what I'm talking about? Like all of a sudden it's like there's actual men who are snakes. And they're going to infect the world with snake virus or something like that. And
Well,
it's like,
it was the whole premonition of the Cobra Law put the whole idea of Cobra into Cobra Commander's head.
yes. So
And-
what you're saying
yeah.
here is let's boil this down. Let's get back to the whole G.I. Joe plot and overarching here is that a secret society of snake men formed a terrorist organization to overthrow the world.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. There you go. And Cobra Commander gets turned into a snake.
I
And
can't
Was
remember
the
the big
theatrical release,
purple-
or was that a home movie thing?
It
Oh,
was
it was
in the
theaters.
movie
It was
theaters.
theatrical.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
All right.
and here's a fun fact for Transformers fans. The death of Optimus Prime was so traumatic for kids
They changed the G.I. Joe
that they
movie because
changed
of
it.
that.
Duke was supposed to die.
Yeah.
That I
If you
heard
look
about.
at the animation, like he dies, he gets
Yeah.
stabbed by Serpentor, right? And then
Yep.
he's like, "Oh, he's just asleep."
Yeah, I never,
kind-
I didn't see any of those movies in the theaters. I didn't see them until they
I
were
remember
on
seeing
VHS.
Transformers movie in the theater, which also Transformers movie way darker than it ended up because there's that scene on the junk planet where they kill Ultra Magnus.
Mhm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And the
Oh, yeah.
sweeps come in and shoot the things. Did you know what? Like he just explodes. But you know what was really supposed to happen?
No.
Wow.
He was supposed to be drawn and quartered.
Oh,
Like they were literally supposed to pull him apart in four. The script says they pull him apart in 4 ways.
Jeez.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like that whole movie is the death of a childhood. We can
man.
spend
That taught us a
whole
lot.
After Dark podcast on that.
That taught us a
Like
lot.
that-
We're gonna be doing this all show.
Oh my gosh. What are you doing?
I'm sorry. I was just going through my
And he
Yeah.
died.
What?
Oh, dependable Canadian internet. All right. So
He's going
also,
through his.
let's talk here some game release updates. This week, River City Girls Zero hit the eShop on Valentine's Day. This is the 16-bit demake, I guess, of River
Yes.
City Girls, but it's also a new story. So if you love beat 'em ups, Tim, I think this one's right up your alley. I confession, have the original River City Girls and have never finished it. So I need to do that. It's in my backlog. Also, Puzzle and Dragons Nintendo Switch Edition was announced this week. It launches this weekend, February 20th, which is a Sunday. Am I right?
Yeah.
Launches on Sunday because that's what you do. $4.37 for this game. So if you like match threes with lots of spells and dragons, you got a budget title to play. I think it'll be good. Also announced just this evening, Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask on the Nintendo Switch Online SNES, not SNES app, Nintendo 64 app, is coming next week, February 25th. February 25th, you'll be able to play the worst Zelda game of all time.
No.
Yep. Sorry.
My phone just died too.
He's like, I'm done. Your garbage opinion. Yeah, it is. I mean,
I love that game.
I have the version on 3DS.
Yeah.
It's actually the first time I ever made any progress in it. I played the original. I just think there are just things about it I don't like.
It's a weird game, man.
It is weird, and I like weird, but I don't like being on a timer. Don't rush me.
I struggled with that for years, man. I had a weird turnaround with it for sure.
Okay, maybe I need to play. I beat the first boss on 3DS, and then another game came along, and I just lost it. And so I still have the game. Probably going to pull it out.
The first boss is as far as I got on the N64. It took me like 3 attempts to actually get that far. The first few I couldn't even get to the dungeon.
See,
and it wasn't until the 3DS version where I was able to beat it, and I did 100% it. Like all heart containers, the final mask, and all that.
I used to think that Skyward Sword was the worst Zelda game, and then I played the new version on the Switch. And
it was a game changer. The HD was a game changer. It was absolutely.
And so I will give for you, Seth. I will give Majora's Mask another, but I'm not playing it on the Nintendo 64 app. I'm going to play the one on 3DS because it's. I've heard there's
I prefer the 3DS version personally. Yeah, I prefer the 3DS version.
I tried it when I think it was we got it in the GameCube in that pack, the collection.
Right.
So I tried it there and it didn't click with me. And then when the 3DS version came out, I tried it there and it still didn't click with me.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about that game. Maybe it's the timer too. I don't know, but
so hard to wrap your mind around the time thing, man. And like the game, that's kind of the whole point. I mean, I could be on a whole tangent. We'll be here all night if you get me talking about Majora's Mask, but it's all about like brushing up against like overcoming those odds. You know, it's all about like, despite everything, the game itself working against you, you have to push through, you know, and help people just for the sake of helping people. You know?
Yep. So I'm going to start it this weekend. We'll see. Actually, I'm not because I'll tell you why. But I'll start. It'll be. You know what? I'll move it up to next on my list.
There you go.
Okay, I'll move it up to next on my list because I have quite a big backlog. But that's it'll be next. Also announced this week a musical story is launching on March 3rd, and they just keep making these. Jackbox Party Pack 9 has been announced for fall 2022.
I missed that. Wow.
Jesse says probably the 13th of October, based on previous year releases. Are they lining them up about the same time every year?
Yeah, I went back to going back to 2018, and they're all around that same week.
Nice. Okay.
If it's not that date, it'll be plus or minus a week.
And guys, here's the deal. Because of the way we're categorizing some of the things we're going to talk about tonight, that's it for our news. Not a very huge news week, but yeah, it is, because we're going to talk about that whole Nintendo 3DS and Wii U eShop thing here in just a minute. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break, and Tim's going to tell us about our sponsor, Manscaped.
And like last week we talked a little bit about Manscaped. Of course, we had everybody applause. And I announced that Manscaped is launching their Ultra Premium Collection. So believe it or not, it's for your not so private parts. I'm talking about a leveled up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent, This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe, literally. Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code NINDADS, NINDADS. So
Awesome.
again, gentlemen, what have you tried anything new yet, or the same routine with the Manscaped stuff?
I used the code this week and bought some more shampoo.
There you
I
go.
freaking love that shampoo. It's amazing.
Are you doing the subscription yet, or are you thinking about doing the subscription?
Here's the thing. I don't, not yet. I did for a little bit, but I like it. I was getting too much. Does that make sense? Like I wasn't using it fast enough. Yeah. Okay. So I got, but the shampoo's not in the subscription yet.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
If they put it in the subscription, Manscaped, listen, if you put it in the subscription, I will gladly buy the subscription because that's my number one product. It smells so good. I love it.
Nice.
Because it's got that cologne smell.
Yes. Speaking of cologne, they have a cologne out now too.
Yep. Yeah. And it's the same scent.
Same scent.
Which is fantastic. And so I freaking love that shampoo and conditioner 2-in-1. And that's all I'm gonna buy now. So
yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And you know what? I bought it late last week. Like I think maybe as we were talking about on the show last week, I was putting in an order and it got to me today. So very quick shipping, and for it to be free, very quick shipping is very good.
Yep. And I have their boxers and they're very comfortable. So I've been thinking about maybe picking up some more of those. Jesse, well, how about you? Your favorite product?
Nothing really new with me. So my favorite product has been the shampoo body wash mix. Though I normally just use it for the shampoo. I have something else I use for a body wash.
Gotcha. Yeah, I will say this: I do miss their 2-in-1 that they had before. Since they updated the premium stuff, I'm hoping they come out with a new 2-in-1. But they separated out the shampoo and the body wash now, so it's 2 separate bottles, which makes it bigger now because the 2-in-1 was smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So, but basically, don't forget, if you want to use any of these products or get your own set of products, because they have all kinds of things like the weed whacker. I love the names of these things too, by the way. So, and then they got the
shed, I think, is my favorite one.
The shed is the pouch that holds everything. So especially if you travel. So lots of things to choose from, not just for, like it says, below the waist, but for everything else. So get 20% off, free shipping with the code NINDADS at manscaped.com. So be sure to go check that out and let us know what you find out is your favorite. In case we haven't tried it, let us know so we can try it out ourselves. Maybe check it out. So
absolutely. And while you're at it, don't forget to head over to Goodr, that's GOODR.com, and use the same code NINDADS, NINDADS, and you get 15% off a pair of freaking awesome sunglasses or blue light glasses for when you're spending a lot of time playing games or on electronics. And they offer free shipping through that as well. My favorite sunglasses I've ever had. Here they are right here. I love these. And I love the name, Electric Dinotopia Carnival.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. So deal with it.
There you go.
Awesome.
There you go.
Go over to Goodr, get you some sweet sunglasses. They are fantastic. All right, guys. There is a very big thing to talk about, including Virtual Console, 3DS, Wii U, and eShops, as well as some results from how long we spent playing those systems. So let's discuss, shall we? All right, so this week, Nintendo of America announced that the Wii U and the 3DS eShop will close at the end of the next fiscal year, which is March 2023. This is actually a pushback from the original date that these shops would close. And I think some people had forgotten that. But this
I did.
sent a shockwave. I mean, that's really the only way I know to describe it. A shockwave through the internet that has resulted in a lot of different conversations, both about digital content, about game preservation, about just, eShops and digital stores in general. And so let's get into some details about this, because this is probably the biggest Nintendo news. I think some of the biggest Nintendo news we've had in a while, just because of some of the stuff that has come out of this. So Nintendo says not only are they planning to close these stores, but they also have no plans to offer classic content in other ways. In other words, apart from the expansion pass and the online apps, NES, SNES, Genesis, Nintendo 64, they have no plans to offer any of the legacy content that they have offered throughout the days of the Wii U, the Wii, and the 3DS. On May 23rd, 2022, you will no longer be able to add funds to your eShop account on a Wii U or 3DS via credit card. Then on August 29th of this year, you will no longer be able to add funds to your eShop account on a Wii U or 3DS via the eShop card method.
A quick caveat to this. If you have it set up like I do, where your Switch and the Wii U and the 3DS are all linked to the same account, you can still add funds with your Switch and then buy the games on the Wii U.
Yes, I was going to mention that, but they're just making you go the long way around.
Right.
All right. Download codes. So if you have like a card and y'all, like, I don't know why they're doing this, because it has been ages since I've seen a 3DS or eShop download or a Wii U download card where it's like for a specific game. If you have one of those, you can redeem it up until March 2023. But here's where it gets interesting. Pokemon Bank will become a free service once eShop purchases are no longer allowed.
Yeah, when this news hit, that was like one of the first things that I saw is, what are they going to do with Bank? Are they going to shut it down or what? And then like a half hour later, they announced, we'll still keep it alive. It's just going to be free.
They really want you to transition to home.
Oh yeah, you probably should have by now.
They want you to transfer to home, but that may not happen. The Video Game History Foundation tweeted this in response. While it's unfortunate that people won't be able to purchase digital 3DS or Wii U games anymore, we understand the business reality that went into this decision. What we don't understand is what path Nintendo expects its fans to take should they wish to play these games in the future. As a paying member of the Entertainment Software Association, Nintendo actively funds lobbying that prevents even libraries from being able to provide legal access to these games. Not providing commercial access is understandable, but preventing institutional work to preserve these titles on top of that is actively destructive to video game history. We encourage ESA members like Nintendo to rethink their position on this issue and work with existing institutions to find a solution. In response to all this, I saw a meme earlier that it was like a 4-panel meme, and it was like a guy, and he was saying it was, had the Nintendo, it was written on him, and it said, "Don't pirate our games." And the other guy says, "Then just let me buy them." And the guy in response frowns, like gets a frowny face. And I was like, I think that sums it up better than anything.
I saw a little animation of like from SpongeBob, like Patrick and some goofy guy in a mask. I have no idea who that is, with a conversation with redubbed with this type of conversation. And it was pretty funny.
Yeah. So Seth, I want to throw it over to you as our guest and let you chat. Let's chat about this for a minute. What do you think about this decision? I mean, let's be honest. This was inevitable. It was going to come.
Right.
The Wii U has been, and let's just be real and be honest. The Wii U has been a legacy console for Nintendo since the Switch launch, since Breath of the Wild was on Wii U. There's not really been anything past that. They've graciously continued to update it and refine it. And same thing for 3DS. 3DS held on a little bit longer, but both of these consoles are now legacy consoles for Nintendo. The clock has been running, but I think that we're so used to like the Netflix model of things where now even shows from our childhood from the 80s. I mean, we've talked about the Transformers movie, the G.I. Joe movie. Those are readily available for streaming if you want to, right? You may have to pay for them, but in this case, Nintendo is just basically saying, hey, I know that through the Wii and Wii U era and the 3DS era, we let you pay us and download games from TurboGrafx-16 and Neo Geo and Sega and Master System and all these, but we just don't care anymore.
It's such a weird issue because I think that, first of all, that statement that you read from the Video Game History Foundation, I think hits the nail on the head, where it's like, it makes business sense for them because it's not free for them to just host all of this stuff. And the reality is, if there were some sort of upsurge of people buying games on this service, then they wouldn't be shutting it down. It's time for them anyway, from a business perspective, to move on. They're like, it's time for us to transition into the Switch era. And I thought it was kind of ironic how I remember when the Switch first came out and the dialogue around it was like, guys, like move away from 3DS and Wii U and, go all in on the Switch and everything. And, now that they kind of are, it's a bummer. Now the issue with that is like, yeah, these have been kind of last bastions for some of these games, some of these like virtual console. There's some amazing digital only games on these platforms that are now just going to be lost. And that's super unfortunate.
Can you imagine what would happen if Earthbound and Earthbound's Beginnings weren't released last week?
Right.
And then they make this announcement. They probably waited exactly for that moment.
Right. That's a great point. Yeah, and I think I really feel like they, for them, it's like, yeah, this is a business, decision, and I see people in here saying like they should put the proper virtual console on Switch. That would make me happy, but for Nintendo, they're like, we've got the NSO thing rolling out. This is like our version of virtual console. Of course, it's not as good in the opinion of like the fans and stuff, but it's the way they're running their business.
You're about to say, in the opinion of everybody.
right.
Yeah, who wants to buy Urban Champion again?
Well,
right.
Here's the thing. Like I would consider myself to be a pretty big Nintendo apologist. Like as far as like, when somebody talks smack about Nintendo, I'm always going to be like, okay, wait, hold up. But this, like I began to think about all of the games that I have on my Wii U that are virtual console games, and they're not just virtual console games for Wii U only. There are Wii games that, virtual console that can be accessed that way. And just like
Metroid Prime Trilogy, there's
so much there, but the issue with that, here's the thing, this like more than the Wii U and more than the Wii, the loss of the 3DS only, like digital only games is devastating, because what other platform could they go to unless they choose to publish those to Nintendo Switch, which are they? And y'all listen, there's games here that you start to think about this and you're not thinking about these games until they get mentioned, but it's huge stuff like Box Boy, Pushmo, Crashmo, Stretchmo, all of those
Pocket
games.
Jockey.
Pocket Card
Jockey. 3D Classics, the 3D Classics line that Nintendo made, just where they like added 3D to old games like Kid Icarus, Kirby's Adventure.
Yeah, I played the Kid Icarus one, and that was nice. Because
Legend of Zelda, Legend of Zelda Picross. Here's one that people aren't thinking of: Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies.
Yeah.
That's like a mainline story point beat game for that series. Gone. I mean, there's tons. There's at least like, do you remember when like we were freaking out over Rusty's Real Deal Baseball?
Oh yeah.
Because
I love that game.
Like it was something new, right? I can't understand the mentality behind, we're just going to shutter this and we're not going to have anything to back it up.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. I also think it was kind of like, I mean, this was always going to happen. Like those servers were never going to be up forever. They can't just keep them alive in perpetuity. But I think the preservation is the important thing. Like the Video Game History Foundation was saying, like they were like, Nintendo needs to facilitate these institutions that are trying to preserve these games, preserve the masters, the source, make sure that these games aren't just lost to time. That's the thing. It would be really nice if they, were forthcoming and more communicative about their plans to preserve these games in some way. The issue is a lot of that stuff's not cost effective. It's all business, and it's unfortunate that it, rubs us the wrong way as fans and as people who care about Nintendo history.
Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry. I'll come back to my question here in just a minute.
I think that I'm gonna play the other side here, since Justin's not here. I'm not gonna attempt to be business Justin here. I'm just gonna say this that I think Nintendo is preserving it, and they've shown that they preserve their stuff, and they do come out with stuff, and they know the worth of their stuff. Obviously, they've explained that a lot, and they tell us that they're going to charge full price for their stuff. They don't, sell us their games that were $50 for $10 in most cases. So those games are preserved. Are they accessible? No. We were upset about that with Metroid, right? When Metroid, the new Metroid Dread came out, we all wanted to go back and play all the different games. And it was like, okay, how do we go back to do that other than going back to those old systems? But the thing is like, I think people just want it there. It's like, I want to be able to get to it when I want to get to it. Sure. But do you really have time to play it? Do you really, does it have to always be there? I mean, if you want the system, if you're really the fan of that system, you're really into those games, then those people should be going out and maybe you already have the system. And if they don't, go buy the system,
do it now,
buy those games that you want and liked, keep it there. Or if you had them and, you haven't touched it in a while and you're like, where is it? Go find it and make sure it's preserved correctly, because you got to take care of it if you want to be able to come back to it.
Good luck finding a regular size 3DS.
No, that's the thing is like, that's the thing too. Okay. So if you're a person who's complaining that you can't access these things and you don't have the system, then what are you complaining about?
Right.
And if you do have the system, it likely has been collecting dust for 4 years, and you only care about it now because we have a 13-month warning.
It's going away. You can't. The thing is it's going away because you can't get to it when you
can't
want
have it.
Yes, you can't get to it and play it when you want.
We can't have something, we get upset.
I want things preserved too. I want to be able to go to it when I need to. Like, again, Metroid Dread is an example. I could go and get this, right? I could go and get out my 3DS and play some of the games I have access to there, but I didn't have access to everything. I think it was only Zero Mission, Samus Returns, and First Mission, Zero Mission, right? You don't have Fusion, and the only way you had Zero Mission is if you were a ambassador, right? So unless you had the Wii U, then if you had the Wii U, then I think you could go there.
I forgot I have that. I have it because of the ambassador program.
I
forgot about it.
But on the Wii U, you can go and buy. I think you can have all of them on the Wii U, if I remember correctly, or the Wii U shop. So
in fact, when they announced Metroid Dread at E3 last year, E3 in quotes, the sales of those games on the Wii U eShop spiked.
Right. And let me go back to the other thing too, with the no plans to offer classic content in other ways. Nintendo, don't get me wrong, they are not offering everything that I would like them to offer in NSO. especially to cover what we're losing in Virtual Console that they do have access to. But everything else that were provided by other third-party companies is, I wouldn't say everything, I would say most things that were provided in Virtual Console are now in some sort of collection. So there are ways to get to a majority of those things that were in Virtual Console back to on the Switch or some other device, and be able to purchase them. There are ways to get these. Are there things still lost to this? Yes. Are there things like the 3DS games that were specific to that console because of the 3D that we're going to lose? Yes. Will Nintendo come out with something eventually? Maybe with the 3DS, with the Switch. It has been discussed that you could probably turn it sideways and get the two panels that you could in the 3DS on that screen. You won't get a 3D effect, but you'll still be able to get the two screen effect.
And then
that way
sales will spike.
Yes, and Nintendo loves the peripherals, so they'll have some sort of.
Oh,
Nintendo
they would make one.
peripheral.
Yeah, they make a. I could see them making like a Joy-Con or something that has the 3DS controls.
Unless they have it upside
to
down
fit at the bottom.
Unless they flip the screen the wrong way. I forget which game did that, where you put a flip grip in it and you put it into Tate mode, but it's upside down because they did it the wrong way.
So let me ask this.
One last point I was going to make. Sorry, Marty.
Oh, sorry. No, you're fine. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's okay. I just wanted to say if my main thing is Nintendo will have it there, kind of like Disney does their vault, right? Nintendo has kind of like their vault that eventually we'll get access to these games. Hopefully we'll get access to these games. And there's probably going to be some we don't, and we're going to be upset about it for sure.
Well, let me say two things. First, a statement, and then a question. And your what you just said brings up a statement. I'm just going to throw this out here, and it's going to sound real grimy as a business practice, but I just wonder if this is it. It's a lot easier to sell remasters when you can't get the original.
That's true.
That's a part of it. That's 1000% a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, why am I so passionate about Advance Wars 1 and 2 coming to Switch? Well, number one, the games are amazing, but number two, I can't find the freaking games. And there's nowhere I can download them. I'd have to go buy a DS, or I'd have to find the original cartridge to be able to play it. And my current 3DS doesn't play DS games anymore, or Game Boy Advance games. That's what I'm trying to say. Game Boy Advance games. So I'd have to have something to play that in. So this move of we have no plans to offer this is not them saying we have no plans for you to ever play this again. What it is we have no plans to offer it this way so we can sell it back to you in about 5 years for $60.
Yeah, and put it on an SO and have their own, version of Game Pass or whatever, and sell you a subscription to that, and continue to add value to that. I mean, that's exactly what it is. I mean, why continue to bank on I can sell Advance Wars on the Wii U eShop for $7.99 or whatever it is when they're going to turn around and have WayForward remake it and charge $60 for it? I mean, it's grimy or whatever. It's like the business thing, but it goes back to the whole Nintendo is not your friend. It's like it's a business, and I mean, it's unfortunate.
And they're not my friends.
It rubs us the wrong way as fans or whatever. But I mean, look, it's a business, man.
Yeah,
so here's my question.
When Tropical Freeze was announced on the Switch, they for $60 they delisted the $20 version on the Wii U.
Yep. Because why? Because they want to make money. Here's my question that comes along with that is this: why? And maybe Nintendo. Maybe we just see the Nintendo side of it because we're Nintendo dads and we focus on Nintendo. But I'm going to throw this out here. Why are companies in general, video game companies especially, so bad at this? Like the movie industry seems like they've kind of figured it out as far as being able to offer legacy content. The music industry seems to be able to do that. The print industry can do it. Why is the video game industry? Because here's why I asked this question is because the video game industry has worked in recent years really, really hard to be considered in the list of entertainment options that it's not just a toy, it's a story. It's valuable. It's a movie. It's an experience, right? It moves you. It should be considered like these other things. They've pushed for that. But then when we get to the point where we start to look like, well, hey, you know, I'd like to be able to play this game for the rest of my life. Oh, no, sorry. You can't do that because we're not going to sell it to you the way it was. Why do they suck at this?
Yeah, it goes back to a word that Tim used earlier, and that's value. A company that probably does this better than anybody else right now is Xbox. The difference is Xbox got backed into a corner because the Xbox One generation caused them to flounder. So they had to start doing really consumer-friendly moves. Nintendo's not in that position. Nintendo's on top of the world right now. They can afford to make business calls like this. They know the value of their IP. They know exactly, they don't have to give it away.
Yeah, I was going to say, they just haven't found a good way to monetize it yet. Your example of music, that was, oh, here we go again. Hi.
Uh-oh.
We said the word business.
There he is.
First, I love Seth's energy because he's 100% correct. Nintendo is not your friend. It is a business. We have to remember that. We have to also remember Nintendo's big strategy right now is to move sales towards the Nintendo Switch Online. That's their future. Yep. That is their subscription. That is their model they want to do. So they're going to delist opportunities for you to purchase games somewhere else. Right? So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Marty's
I'm just saying they suck at it.
Yeah, Marty's question though is why do they suck at it?
The phone died again.
Yeah.
R.I.P. business, Justin.
As I was saying,
he's gonna come back, guys. He'll be back in just a few minutes.
So they need to answer the question: how do we prevent or limit piracy? iTunes has figured it out by making an easy way to buy things one track at a time for 99 cents. Steam figured it out with games, making an easy to use interface to buy your games and have everything in one big library. Xbox what Xbox is doing, as Seth said, and it seems to be working pretty well. PlayStation is still trying to figure it out, and Nintendo hasn't started yet.
Okay.
And Justin's
that's a great answer. And I love what Seth said, and he's exactly right, that Xbox is where they are with Game Pass, not because they love game preservation and not because they love old games. It's because they had to have some games to offer and some value to offer because people were wholesale rejecting the Xbox One.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they were backed into a corner,
well,
and
they started
Nintendo's
50
not.
feet in a hole based on their announcements.
Right.
I want to go back to this question about why do we suck at preservation? Right. There's a question that you asked earlier, Marty. The reason is very much so the video game industry is still very young as an adolescent in regards to its idea of preservation, right? Where movies and music have been so much longer, the infrastructure has been there and the understanding.
Are you calling video games the angsty teen?
Well, in some ways they are, right? Comparatively to what we would call major kind of entertainment platforms, right? So they don't have the kind of the governance that you might typically see. We're seeing that now and understanding the value of preservation. But as Seth had kind of mentioned earlier, like you kind of got to get everybody on board to support this idea as well. And Nintendo, unfortunately, as the video game industries or video game preservation
history foundation.
Yeah, thank you. I'm like stuttering here. Basically, like Nintendo kind of has to play ball. And as one of the biggest arguably probably the game with the company, the biggest game library, right, that needs to be preserved, they're the key player, right? So they kind of need to get their shit together. Sorry, Jesse, to be able to solve those problems, right? That's an issue. And so this is huge. And pressure needs to continue to be there. But we also see, the other side of this, and I'm sure you guys are going to talk about this week, Nintendo, there was an individual who emulated, right? And Nintendo, they ended up pushing legally against him, and he's got 40 months in jail, right? So, and the argument is like, well, you're not letting me buy your stuff, so I'm going to emulate it. Now, we're not saying emulation's right, but they're a company that understands the value of their IP. They understand that they can make money off it, and they're going to capitalize that the most they possibly can. So it creates this kind of stalemate regarding that and preservation in the video game industry. So it's a big challenge they're up against. Inevitably, they kind of need to bend, but that's kind of the forethought around some of the business decisions that's going on there. So I wanted to jump in because, again, my name was called 3 times. And also, man, I love the fact that Seth is sitting in that business perspective, as is Tim, and is holding Marty accountable for his actions. Man, I appreciate you guys. Goodbye.
The preservation side is something I want to point out because it keeps being brought up. Again, Nintendo preserves their stuff. We are just mad because we don't have access to it, not easily. That's why everybody's up in arms about it. So the Video Game History Foundation, yes, they're talking about what's that? What is that? Unfortunately, that's none of our business because Nintendo, like you guys are saying, wants to make money. They preserve their stuff. Whether it's like Marty said, whether it's, okay, we have the old thing, now we're going to take it away. So you'll want the new version of that when we remake it, or whether it's to bring it to NSO, like you guys are all saying, in their new format of doing things. But again, I don't think we can use they're not preserving it as an argument. They are fully preserving it. They're just not making it accessible for the public unless it's on their terms.
Yeah, here's the reality of this, right? The reality is that nothing that gets said about or done about this is going to be palatable to a large number of people. And you used a term earlier, Seth, that I like when talking about Xbox, about being backed into a corner. And in a way, Nintendo has backed themselves into this corner because they started Virtual Console in the beginning.
Yeah.
But my argument for this would be that it really sucks to have such a really cool service that so many people invested a lot of money in. And all of a sudden for them to just say, hey, I know we've done this for the better part of 10 years and gotten you used to it. But guess what? We're not doing it anymore.
I don't think Nintendo had that full control of that, though, considering that most of their Virtual Console wasn't all Nintendo stuff. It was other companies' stuff. Control over it. No. What I'm talking about is they had Virtual Console and then they had their stuff, but then they had third-party stuff that they would offer, individual prices. And then when those companies realized how much that was worth and they wanted to follow the same formula Nintendo was doing or other companies were doing, they decided, hey, we don't need to sell it through Nintendo, which is probably through the Virtual Console is going to get a percentage of that. We can make our own collections and make a profit off of that.
I guess what I'm saying is they absolutely have control over the Virtual Console. They absolutely
but they didn't have control of all of the content that was in that Virtual Console. So when they started losing, when they moved on to the next thing, whatever contracts I imagine they had was, here, your game is going to be in Virtual Console for these systems. When the new system came out and they were talking about looking at either a Virtual Console or the next best thing, renegotiations went out the window probably when those companies decided, hey, we can just make our own collection and bring it out and make our own money without having to give Nintendo our Virtual Console percentage.
We have to pay the middleman.
Yeah.
Well, and think about it this way. So when we think about, this whole like Xbox being backed into a corner, when Virtual Console came out on, Wii DS era, the GameCube, as much as I love the GameCube, sales-wise, the GameCube was their Xbox One, right? Coming into the Wii and establishing a Virtual Console, that's their version of being backed into a corner. The Wii had a lot to prove. And it did prove it, and it did prove that this is something for everyone. It was massively successful. The Switch has surpassed it now, but they're now in a position where they hold all the cards and they can choose how to play them. It's the industry is so cyclical, and it's so based on competition and based on reaction to the market. So Nintendo is on top right now, so they get to choose exactly what they want to do. Whereas when they were down, they made decisions like the Wii Virtual Console and the Wii U Virtual Console, which something that sold horribly, and it probably has the best Virtual Console. So I think it's kind of a result of they gave us what we wanted to get us in when they were down, and now that they're up, they realize that they don't have to do that anymore. As sad but true.
That's a great way of putting it. It's sad but true. Mainly because some of these games are never gonna be on a compilation. They're never gonna be on probably never gonna be on NSO, because
right.
You've got companies like Konami and Capcom and things that realize they can sell it on their own, but it's up to them to make that happen.
Right.
And it may just not be in their plan or in their budget. So it's like a catch-22. You're danged if you do, you're danged if you don't. Whereas what they could really do is just go to the Game Pass model and just split the money all around and make everybody happy. And they might be working towards something for like Xbox.
That. And I think Nintendo would love it, to have NSO grow to the size of Game Pass. You know what I mean? And we'll see where things go.
That's true. That I think they would love to have it that size, but with the current structure of it, it never will be.
Yeah,
because they've done too much to turn people off, and or not done enough. And it just, at the functionality of it as it is not.
Until that Mario Kart DLC comes out.
Yeah, I mean, what a brilliant. Yeah.
Let's look at those numbers here in a little bit, and we'll see. Well, this week Nintendo also gave us something pretty interesting, as they I guess are shutting the door on the Wii U 3DS era of the company. They built a website where you could go back and look at your history with the Wii U and the 3DS. And we thought it would be fun to talk about our personal history with these systems since we're in the neighborhood. So Jesse, yours is first here in the dock. So why don't you share with us what you found when you dove into your legacy with the 3DS?
Well, before he starts, real quick, I want to mention we got rated by the Geek Easy.
Hey.
We got rated by 8 people. So thank you very much for all those who jumped in and rated us. And
absolutely.
Hey, Raiders.
Yes. Thanks a lot.
Way better than the Oakland Raiders.
Face Raiders. 3DS reference.
That's a game that you'll never be able to play ever again. You know what they should do? Can I just, before we're in this neighborhood, I can't stop talking about it, but they should take all of those old 3DS games like that and port them to mobile devices. Boom, done.
I've long said, I think this came up when I had Tim on Keep Nintendo Weird. We were talking about how they could make Elite Beat Agents work on Switch. If they took the Nintendo Switch Online mobile app and you could use that as a second screen to do DS and 3DS games, yes. I think that's such an easy, simple.
Like I said, Nintendo loves their accessories. They would make a clip that you could put on your Switch and clip your phone to it, right?
Right.
Like I said, it's too cool. They'll never do it. too good an idea. Jesse, you're up with your stats. You're muted. We can't hear you.
Okay, that's better.
There you go.
For 3DS, I had 2,133 hours of play over 196 titles.
Oh my gosh. Can I do some quick math? Hang on just a second.
Yeah.
That's 88.87 days of 3DS gaming.
I had a 3DS at launch. March, April 2011 launch day. I had a 3DS, 3DS XL, DSi, DSi XL. No, wait. DSi is the wrong generation. But 3DS, 3DS XL, then the new 3DS, new 3DS XL, and then I had a second 3DS. So I have 6 3DSs.
Did you get a
No
new 3DS with
2DSs?
Knuckles?
I never had a 2DS. My son has has had like 6 3DSs concurrently, and back when he was shiny hunting and Pokemon, he would have 6 Pokemon games playing all at the same time, doing this.
That's hardcore.
Shiny hunt. It is. He was a crazy kid. Anyway, so my top 3 games. The first one I think is baloney because this is the game I've never beat, and I never got past like 2 dungeons. Legends of Zelda: Oracle of Ages. I think this is a case of I put it in the sleep mode, and the timer kept on going.
Right.
Which I thought for Game Boy Color games should have been fine. I know that was a problem with GBA games with that, but I don't know. So I got 127 hours because of that. The other 2 games is Dragon Quest VII at 117 hours. That I believe because I played through that game twice. And The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time 3D, 92 hours. I've played through that game twice. Then for favorite genres, it says top one was RPG, which, yeah, I believe that. But then they give 2 examples of RPGs, and I'm like, okay, these examples are weird. I don't know. I think they're just randomly pulled. But in this case, they're fine. But in other cases, they're going to be weird. But yeah, Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga and Bowser's Minions and Witch and Hero 3.
Play that game?
Huh? Oh yeah, I played all 3 of the Witch and Hero games. It's just probably no one else has. It says action, Quarters Please, which is probably one of the last games I bought, and it's horrible. And Metroid Fusion. And then for adventure, it says Metroid Fusion again, and Detective Pikachu. Again, not a game I didn't finish. Wasn't it? Yeah. Mecca asks, wasn't that game like $5? Yes, it was $5, but it was still horrible. And then for Wii U, it says 531 hours over 107 titles. The top 3 games were Mario Maker, 76 hours. That kind of surprised me that I played it that much. Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE, 71 hours. That one I am not surprised. And The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker HD, 43 hours. And that sounds about right as well. Favorite genres, action, which says Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, and Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, of which I only played like a level or 2 of Shovel Knight. I didn't get any farther than that. And then adventure is Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE. No, that's an RPG. Sorry. And then it says Super Smash Bros. Again. And then platformer, it says Shovel Knight again, and then Super Mario 3D World.
All right. Nice mention of Mario 3D World there, the greatest 3D Mario game of all time.
You love to see it.
Yep. Thank you. You knew it was coming. Tim, let's dive into your stats here.
All right. So my 3DS said that I had 1,250 hours of play over 153 titles.
Man.
That's 52 days of 3DS.
Yep. I was
I'm sorry, Jesse. I didn't do your days of Wii U. They're significantly less. You only played your Wii U for 21.12 days.
Well, that's because my son probably has like 700 hours in Call of Duty.
Yeah.
So
there you go.
Thus why I played the 3DS. Oh, by the way, my son did the same thing. His top 3 games in the 3DS are all Pokemon games, and Pokemon Y was like 1,200 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And again,
Shiny hunting.
Yeah, and again, that's just one account on one system. He has other accounts as well that didn't get...
Yikes.
Wow.
Right. Yeah, for me, I've always been more of a portable gamer. So whenever any of the companies had a portable gaming system, I usually picked it up.
Yeah.
So 3DS, I wasn't surprised with that many hours on it, but I think I blew that out of the water in 2020 alone with the Switch because we were all in lockdown, right? So, but anyways, yeah, Yeah, 1,250 hours of playtime, over 153 titles. My top 3 games were Street Pass with 153 hours.
Yeah, I'm surprised my Street Pass wasn't up there.
Because I spent a lot of time in those games and trying to do
Same.
a lot of stuff there. Mario Kart 7 with 85 hours and Super Smash Bros. 3DS with 60 hours. Now, one of the things I just changed this recently too, but one of the things that the site actually said, and I changed it because of what my 3DS actually says, it actually had Street Pass, Netflix, and then Mario Kart 7 as my top 3. And I was like, I don't remember spending that much time in Netflix on my 3DS, but okay, whatever. Nintendo can't be wrong, right? But no, they're wrong because I couldn't even find the Netflix app on my 3DS. So I don't even know where that number came from, other than maybe it calculated that with my family's possible, games or something with their accounts, because we're all under that Nintendo family umbrella, I guess, at the time. So, and still am basically. So, but I changed it because it was like, I didn't spend that much time with Netflix. So I wanted to make sure I got that right information. It says my favorite genres were action, multiplayer, and adventure. So under action was Mario Kart and WarioWare. Multiplayer was Mario Kart and Mario Golf, which makes sense because I did play a lot of Mario Golf as well, especially with our community. Even late in the game, no pun intended, it was when the 3DS Life, we did our Mario Golf tournaments that Donnie helped head up in our community at one time. So, and then adventure was all just basically Mario games. And I looked at it, and basically in my top 10 of games, I just have a ton of Mario games on my 3DS. So, Wii U, I had 759 hours of play over 54 titles. I didn't play a lot of Wii U. And again, it was more of my kids playing on that one or family game time. Top 3 games they listed were Netflix with 153 hours, which does make sense because we did use the Wii U a lot for our entertainment system, if you will, especially with the TV controller, which, by the way, and I know, Marty, you mentioned this because you use it still as your TV controller. I absolutely loved that ability to use the Wii U's second, that gamepad as a controller, and also do a lot of social media stuff while you're watching things. I actively used that at the time when they had that ability where you could be watching something and you could make a comment or whatever, or send it to your social media accounts when you were watching something.
By default, the comment would be sent to Twitter with no context. So I'm like, as soon as I noticed that, I'm like, I'm disabling that.
All right. That's true. I don't remember how exactly. I just remember having fun with it. And then also getting like extra stats whenever you're watching things on it. From like, I think sports games, you could get
like football games
stats.
do that.
Yeah, you could get stats and stuff on the second screen. So there was a lot of fun there with that. Which, speaking of which, YouTube was the second app we used a lot on there with 88 hours. I know we did watch a lot of things on there, especially like, believe it or not, like the Sony press conferences and stuff at E3. We watched that on there and things like that. So a lot of E3 stuff. And then Smash with 50 hours. So, which is not a surprise because our family liked playing that. And to tie it in with the 3DS, yes, I did use the 3DS, Super Smash Bros. 3DS, as the controller for Smash on my Wii U. Crazy as that sounds, I did do that a lot, and because I enjoyed it.
I know people who've done that too, so it's.
And then favorite genres they listed were other. Other was number 1, and they listed Splatoon and Netflix under the other. Action was Metroid Trilogy and Minecraft, and Metroid Trilogy is definitely accurate, along with the multiplayer, which they also said Metroid Trilogy, but I don't remember doing much multiplayer with that. And then Pikmin 3 as well is what they listed in their multiplayer.
The only one that had multiplayer was 2, wasn't it?
Yes, I think that did, and I know we did that on the GameCube, but I don't remember doing it when it was on
Tim, I'm proud of
re-release.
That your days with the Wii U are higher than Jesse's. You loved your Wii U for 31.62 days.
Nice.
So awesome.
I blame my son.
And I
You just
blame
don't-
my kids too.
Just you don't like the Wii U. It's okay. I understand. Some, only 14,000, let's just say 14,000 sold. Only 14 million sold. It's totally fine. Seth, let's throw it over to you. What are your numbers here? Let's crunch.
Cool. Yeah. Now, as you guys have already kind of touched on, these are wildly inaccurate. They're like
Yes.
games that I know that would be on here that just aren't on here at all. So for 3DS, to start there, total playtime is 759 hours across 88 total titles played.
That's also 31.62 hours. You played your 3DS exactly as many hours as Tim played his Wii U.
Hey, there we go.
Days.
See, Justin, I could do numbers too.
So this is where it gets shaky here, because my most played says Animal Crossing New Leaf at 256 hours. Already that's wrong, because I know that I looked at this recently. I looked at my 3DS activity log recently with I did an episode of Keep Nintendo Weird about Pocket Card Jockey, and I had like 150 some odd hours in that. My Animal Crossing was like 400 something hours, so I don't know where that number comes from. And then the next thing here is Street Pass Me Plaza at 91 hours, and I know of at least 2 games that should beat that I have over 100 hours in, that being Pocket Card Jockey and Tamagotchi Life. But they're not only are they not on here in my most played, they're not even represented in my most memorable game. Like, I can't even choose them as an option. They're nowhere to be found. I have no idea what the deal is there. And then my number 3 game is Pokemon Y with 52 hours. So
Yeah, that's less than 1,200.
Yeah, it's less than 1,200. My favorite genres, evidently, number 1 is multiplayer, Smash Brothers, and New Super Mario Brothers 2. Apparently, best multiplayer games.
I guess they count Street Passing mode as multiplayer.
I guess, yeah. And then my number 2 is Other, with Nintendo Badge Arcade and Pokemon Bank, which I believe I have booted up 1 time on my 3DS. And then Simulation with Animal Crossing New Leaf and Hatsune Miku Project Mirai DX, which I literally played the demo for and not the full game. So question marks all around for this for me. Wildly inaccurate. So going into Wii U, my total playtime is 527 hours over 51 total titles played. This one makes a little bit more sense to me. Top game is Smash with 96 hours. That seems about right. I was a little surprised, just like you, Jesse. Super Mario Maker, 90 hours. I was like, did I really spend 90 hours with Mario Maker? Really?
You unfortunately played your Wii U less than Jesse.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
I didn't think it was possible.
That doesn't shock me.
21.95 days. Almost
Man.
22.
Man. And then Mario Kart 8 at number 3 with 73 hours. Again, sounds about right. My top 3 genres was action with Mario Maker and then Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Okay.
Wow.
Multiplayer with Smash and Mario Kart, and then Other with Mario Maker and Hulu. So...
Because those 2 things are exactly the
same genre. Yeah, why not? Hulu, Mario Maker.
Other. Right? Those are good numbers, though. That's good.
I guess.
Wildly inaccurate. But in fact, I would say probably the only thing probably accurate about these is the total playtime.
Right.
Yeah. So mine for 3DS was 1,559 hours, which rounds out to 64.95 days of my life spent playing 3DS. Top 3 that's over 215 titles as well, which that's shocking to me. That's a lot of games. Top 3 games by time: Animal Crossing New Leaf at 118 hours, New Super Mario Brothers 2 at 72 hours, and Super Mario 3D Land at 70 hours. I honestly would say this is probably correct for me. I need to go back and look at my 3DS for playtime, But I put a lot of time into New Super Mario Brothers True trying to get to that 1,000,000 coins.
Yeah.
And I just love.
I don't think I ever did. I think I might have gotten to like 600.
Eric did. My co-host Eric on All In. He got the 1,000,000 coins.
And all it does is change the title screen. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mario 3D Land at 70 hours. I can believe that too, because I fell in love with that game when it came out.
Great game.
Favorite genres is action, which those games are WarioWare Mega Micro Games and Luigi's Mansion. Multiplayer, Mario Party, the Top 100. Okay, like that's a multiplayer game. Also, Star Fox 64 3D.
Okay.
And then adventure is my last favorite genre, Luigi's Mansion and Retro City Rampage Deluxe, which I don't even think I own. I don't think it's on my 3DS. I don't remember playing that game at all. Wii U came in at 1,008 hours of playtime, over 150 titles, which is a square 42 days of my life spent playing.
Oh, wow.
The Wii U. Top 3 games by time: Super Mario Maker, 93 hours, Super Smash Brothers for Wii U, 59 hours, and Lego Dimensions, 56 hours. That's probably pretty accurate too. Favorite genres, action, which Donkey Kong 64 and WarioWare Mega Micro Games. Because apparently I own WarioWare Mega Micro Games on both the 3DS and the Switch.
As well you should.
Because I forget what games I have on what systems. Number 2, Adventure.
Are you Ambassador program?
I am.
Okay, so that you would have it
probably,
on 3DS.
Probably
yes.
Favorite genres, number 2, Adventure. Super Smash Brothers for Wii U. Didn't know that was an adventure game. And Castlevania, which it's fine. I like Castlevania. And then platformer, Donkey Kong 64 and Super Mario 64. That's inaccurate. Those aren't platformers. They're 3D games.
Shooters.
Anyway. Yeah, they're shooters.
What?
I don't. Anyway, here's what we want you to do. If you're out there listening, is tweet us or hit us up on Facebook or Instagram. Tag us in your breakdown of your memories from Wii U and 3DS. We would love to see those and compare them to ours as we move forward. Guys, we're going to change gears here and talk about a couple of events coming up. So let's do that right now. Tim, why don't you tell everybody about the dinner table?
Yes, the dinner table coming up tomorrow night, in fact, or today, if you're listening to the recording. It is every third Friday of the month, and that is this Friday. So we will be getting together as a community. I don't record them anymore, so it's not technically a podcast anymore with our community. It's just the community gets together and sits back and relaxes and talks about whatever. Last time it was talking about Star Wars stuff, Marvel stuff, and one of our members from our community, Spider Shan, was having a good old time and blessed us with his knowledge of that content. So it was quite awesome. We have other members of the community that come and join whenever they can. And that's what it is. It's just basically, we open it up at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for the community to come in to Discord. And in order to do that, you have to be a Patreon or a Twitch subscriber. So those are some of the benefits you get when you do that. To join in on that, in those discussions, and we hang out maybe for a couple hours, or like the last time we were up till like 3 or 4 in the morning, just talking about everything. So it's not recorded anymore, like I said. So it opens up the doors for people to be a little bit more open in their discussions, not worried about the world hearing it. Which I think is very good for the community and for everybody just to be able to chit chat about whatever. So
what you're saying is the dinner table is Vegas.
It's yes. What happens at the dinner table stays at the dinner table. That is correct.
I like it. Also coming up, actually, as you are listening to this, MLB The Show 22 is having a tech test from February 17th through February 23rd. If you are 18 or over and you have a PlayStation 5 or 4, Xbox Series X or S, a One, or a Switch, and those are connected to the internet, you can participate in this technical test. And Tim's actually going to talk a little bit about that tonight in what he's been playing. I'm anxious to hear this because MLB The Show being on a Nintendo system is a pretty big deal. Seeing as how it's coming by way of PlayStation Studios. And speaking of the online playtests, as you're hearing this today, Friday the 18th, you will be able to participate in the Nintendo Switch Sports online playtest. Pre-registration for this is required, and you can do so by redeeming absolutely 0 My Nintendo Platinum points on the my.nintendo.com website to get a code for the eShop, and that will download the game client to your system.
I don't know why they just don't put it on the eShop. Why make it do the code?
Because, Jesse, Nintendo. That's why.
I accept this answer.
That's how they want you to do it. They want you to go to that my.nintendo.com website to remind you that it's still there. Times for the playtest will be today, Friday the 18th, if you're listening to this in audio, 7 to 7:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. On the 19th, which is Saturday, 3 to 3:45 a.m., 11 to 11:45 a.m., and 7 to 7:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on the 20th, 3 to 3:45 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And don't forget, Nintendo says you're absolutely not allowed to talk about this. If you play this, you better not say anything online or they'll come get you. I don't know why. Why are they doing that, Seth?
Yeah.
Why did they want us to talk about it?
This is a weird one for me. It's I guess it's fairly standard practice with with tests like that to kind of put that out as a blanket statement. But to be honest, for me, I'm like, is this not just free marketing for your game? If we talk about it,
are you really going to issue 5 million NDAs?
NDAs, right? Yeah, no, it does. It doesn't really work that way. So
Does it mean we can't stream it?
This one
Correct.
confuses me. Yeah, you're not supposed to stream it.
Yeah, or do video. We couldn't do a video of it.
Is there a secret me murder option or something in here that we're gonna what? It's bowling.
I think it's something to where. I mean, look, for example, this is going to launch tomorrow at 10 o'clock, the same time we start our dinner table. And we've already said as a group in the Discord channel that for those who are going to participate, we're going to participate while we're talking. So we're going to be chit-chatting about everything, even while we're sitting there with our Switches and saying, hey, we can't play together, obviously. Jesse reminded us of that to make sure that we didn't forget that you can't connect and play with other people. It's not going to be that kind of test. It's just going to be, going on there playing with random people with the random games. So
this is such a weird time though, for a lot of people, Central Standard Time. This is 9 p.m. On Friday night, 5 a.m., 1 p.m. and 9 p.m. on Saturday, and 5 a.m. on Sunday.
Their tests, they've always had weird times.
Well, they also have to support the Japanese audience, which is 11 hours difference.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You're right.
They've always had their weird time. So, but it's going to be interesting. So, like I said, we'll be on. It's not being recorded or anything, but we're going to be sitting there in a private chat, just chatting about everything, including our experience at the moment. So,
well, either way, we'll talk about it on next week's podcast, and they can't stop us because. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
Next week
less of a chance for us to be whatever Nintendo ambassador.
Nintendo ninja.
Yes.
It's a chance for us to get the ninjas.
Sue everybody.
Well, guys,
DMCAs for everybody.
Those are our events coming up. And now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, especially Justin's, Jesse's PokéMinute.
Pika, pika, Pikachu.
I hate you all.
I have a few things to talk about today. The First, Pokemon Go Community Day updates. The dates for Community Days through May have been announced. March 13th, a Sunday, April 23rd, a Saturday, May 21st, a Saturday. More information about each Community Day will be announced before their respective dates. Starting Friday at 10 a.m. through February 25th at 8 p.m. local time, the Go Tour Pokeball Prep Rally. During this event, timed research will be available to reward trainers who complete it before the event's end with extra Pokeballs to use during Pokemon Go Tour Johto. Field research tasks will also earn trainers Pokeballs, Great Balls, and Ultra Balls. Ball-shaped Pokemon will appear more in the wild, including Cantonian and Husonian Voltorb, Cantonian Electrode, Coughing, Meryl, Whalmer, Solosis, Fungus, and Jigglypuff. Husonian Voltorb will be able to evolve into Husonian Electrode for the first time at the cost of 50 Voltorb candies, and the Galar Pokemon League mascot character, Ball Guy, his costume will be available to purchase for your in-game avatar.
Wow.
Finally, some information about Pokemon Go Tour Johto. Ticket holders who complete the Pokemon Go Tour Johto's special research will unlock a new Masterwork research line, which is designed to be completed over a long period of time. They did something similar last year as well. By progressing through this Masterwork research, trainers can encounter Apex Shadow Ho-Oh and Apex Shadow Lugia, who give off an aura that has never been seen before. When purified, the resulting aura will also be different. The Pokemon Go Tour Johto event is on February 26th from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time. And I know there's some components that are will require to go to Pokestops to do rocket grunt battles and whatnot. But for what I did, like I did last year, I plan on live streaming as much as I can. And I'll take breaks when I have to go out, and then I'll come back and continue my stream.
Those
Awesome.
are always fun and cool to see.
Yep. So that's our PokéMinute. Let's talk about what we've been playing. And Tim, we're going to start with you. What's you been playing?
All right. So I can't remember if I mentioned this last week, but It Takes Two. Sammy and I beat that. I don't remember if I mentioned that last week or not.
Yeah, I don't remember. But
I know I mentioned that we playing it, but we actually beat it. So, which I think was over the weekend. I can't remember. Everything's blending together. But just to say that on the Xbox, Sammy and I played that to completion, which was a lot of fun. Really good game. Some topics that I think that I can understand why only teenagers or older probably you would want them to play that game with you, because there's some topics there about the parents that you're playing. You know, they're talking about getting a divorce and all that and how it impacts their daughter. So some heavy topics there. Sammy didn't really care too much about what that was all about. He asked a couple questions, but that was it. He didn't ask anymore. He just wanted to keep playing, which that game is I think the game of games for co-op playing.
Yes.
I think so. It's like, I think every time I think about it, it's number one on my co-op games list. So
I love that game.
It is absolute the best co-op game I've played in a long time that I can remember. So definitely recommend that, especially if you got Game Pass. Definitely play it while you can there. All right, going back to my list, Retro Bowl. I've been playing that on the Nintendo Switch. I believe it was a mobile game before, and probably still is. But it came out for the Switch, and it is kind of like your, old school Tecmo Bowl-ish type of football game for the Nintendo Switch. But it has newer things that we're used to today in games. Not the graphics. It's still like 8-bit, 16-bit type graphics, which is pretty fun and cool. But it's a lot of fun to play because you are basically a GM of a football team, and a coach as well, basically. And the game is built around you being the coach. And although you get to play offense, you don't get to play defense, but the offense you're playing as the players, just like any other football game you would, and especially in the Tecmo Bowl-ish type realm. But then when you're done with the game, you do a lot of coaching and GMing for your team. And there's a lot of, you get some currency, in-game currency there to where it helps you decide on what you're going to do with players and facilities and all that kind of stuff. And I think I mentioned all this stuff last week, but I can't reiterate enough that if we're sorely lacking in American football games on the Nintendo Switch, and this was I didn't give it a pass just because it's one of the very few that's on there. It is actually a really good game. Unfortunately, it doesn't have online play against other people. It does have leaderboards, or will have leaderboards if it's not there already. So there's some aspect, I guess, if you want to, compete for high score or whatever, however that's going to work. But it is a really good football game where it's using current NFC, AFC teams that you can use, not the player names or anything like that. Obviously, they don't have anything like that, but you have both divisions in the NFL and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really fun
which
game.
tells me they got a license for the NFL, but not the Players Association.
Right, exactly. So it doesn't matter though, because the player names are pretty creative and funny too. So there's a lot of discussion of that in our Discord. So highly recommended if you are into American football games. It's fun.
Tim, can I ask you a question real quick? Sorry,
Sure.
to go back to
ahead.
It Takes Two.
Yes.
Because playing it with your son, I've got to know, how did it go over when you guys, no spoilers or whatever, but how did it go over when you guys did the scene with Cutie the elephant? How did that go?
He was laughing and I was, but it was more in nervousness because it was like, oh my gosh, what are we doing?
One of the most horrific scenes in any video game ever.
Yeah,
just saying.
It's hard not to spoil anything because I want to talk about it, but I saw the Game Pass guys go through it. Game Pass News guys, our podcast, family podcast there that does the Xbox games. They were playing it and they got to that scene, and I kept telling them, they were like, "Oh, do we have to do what we think we have to do to this elephant?" And I'm like,
yes.
Oh, just wait.
Dude, I watched Midsommar the same night that I did that scene, and nothing in Midsommar was as horrible as that scene in It Takes Two. I'm just saying. So sorry, yes. I had to ask.
Yes, that is probably one of those points if you're playing with kids or kids in the area that you're going to, again, teenager or older, definitely for this game. As much as it is a good gaming game, I
have no idea what you're talking about. I think we need to have a talk post show to.
Okay.
Yeah. But again, definitely high up on the list if you game with your teenagers or older. So, or even I think it's a really good game for a couple to play too. So,
yeah.
Did you play it with your wife, Seth?
No, I actually played it with my cousin.
Okay.
I want to play it with my wife.
Yeah.
But my wife and I have a really hard time with co-op games. We wind up yelling at each other. So, which would be accurate, I guess, for this game. So we would just be role-playing the characters.
Why otherwise known as why Marty's wife won't play snipper clips with me anymore.
1000%.
Yes.
Oh, Overcooked's really bad. 'Cause my wife works in the restaurant business, so we play Overcooked, and it's a nightmare.
Oh, I believe it.
We also, that was another one. That was put the controller down and look at me and say, we're never doing this again.
Yep.
Which is sad because I love Overcooked.
Yeah.
I get really I want the 3 stars.
Yeah.
I want the 3-star rating.
If you would just cut the tomatoes,
put them on the counter. I put them on the counter. Put them down. Why are you? Don't grab that. Stop.
We can't do it. We can't.
You didn't fill it up all
even
the way. Worse.
We tried to play it as an entire family one night.
Oh man!
And oh my god,
rules had to be put down, right?
that was the we're never playing this again. It was there was never a thought. Okay, that's cool.
All right,
that's cool.
Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm still playing more of that. I got my 5th star there. I'm at the cave. of Wonders. No,
I was going to say the same thing.
The Cave of Wonders. No, where am I in this game? I have it right here. The Ancient Quarry. Sorry, the Ancient Quarry is where I'm at.
That's two different things. An ancient query is an old question.
No,
An ancient quarry is an old place. An old rock place.
An old rock place is where I'm at. It's an old mine. That's where I'm at right now. I got was it quelled? The three Pokemon so far. So
yeah.
I'm making my way through this game so I don't have to hear it from the community like I do with Breath of the Wild. So that is what's motivating me.
So
no,
Marty,
really, I'm actually I want to beat this game because I want to know what's going on. But it sounds like when we talked to Jesse, there's a lot more to this beyond the credits. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
So, and then the show 22 tech test I played today. I did a tech test with that. I played a whole game, and there's a lot going on in the tech test. Like they have it to where you can buy packs for free. You don't have to put any money into it right now. So I was able to download packs. I was able to get like a pretty good team because I got the most expensive packs, the diamond packs, I think they are, and unlocked a lot of players, which is a very interesting mechanic. I haven't played the show games, I think at all, maybe, or maybe the very first one. I think the very first ones didn't have cards, but these have cards where you're using tops cards where you get the players current and old and use those cards and the stats in those cards to build your team. So I was able to create my own team in this tech test. And I was surprised. I mean, we all know it's the Switch. It's not going to look like it does on the PlayStation or the Xbox. I'm already prepared for that. I didn't know what to prepare myself for when looking at it. And again, this is a tech test, so I know it's not going to be, the final build, if you will. But man, it's impressive for being a tech test. It looked good. There was some glitches. There was some things happening in between, switching between, being on the field or batting and stuff like that. All things that anybody who goes to play it will find out and stuff like that. But again, I was impressed by what I saw so far, the tech test on playing this game in handheld mode, by the way, on the Switch. And that's how I mainly play, is handheld. And that's what I've just wanted from like EA or anybody else, to give us a sports game that I can play in handheld. So, and this does it impressively. And the other thing that I like about it too is it is cross platform. So if I really wanted to play it on the PlayStation or Xbox, I can. And when I have my account connected, I can continue where I left off in a Dynasty game or whatever, and continue on if I wanted on my TV with better graphics, I guess, if I wanted to. But again, I like the handheld aspect of my my Switch, and I'm looking forward to that game. I think I'm probably going to be pre-ordering that.
I did have this information in the notes last week, but since I wasn't talking, I didn't get a chance to talk about it. But yeah, I saw in the eShop that they have the game for $60, and then they have a digital deluxe bundle for $100.
Yes, they do.
That gives you a whole bunch of packs. And,
yes.
And I'm like, oh, it's going to be a gotcha game like FIFA.
Yes, that's what it is. You can get.
So
packs.
Watch out if you want to buy this for your kid. Watch out for that.
Yes.
And Marty's favorite, you're gonna play it 4 days early.
Yes, you get 4 days early in the game.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about the packs.
The only time I'm really going to be okay with that is for WWE 2K22. You can play that 4 days early, but you also get the Undertaker, which is a total crap move for people locking the Undertaker behind a pre-order, but that's okay. By the way, I also just want to throw it in here. That's been 1,808 days since Breath of the Wild came out, and Tim still hasn't beaten it. But this is going to be a weekly feature now on the podcast.
This is.
And then
I am playing the long game with Breath of the Wild. It's been going on 5 years, right? So
bang for your buck. Bang for your buck.
I go in and play it, and this is what gets people too, is I still have not opened up the whole island. I've only opened up the southeast corner of the island, and I'll have to look it up. When you guys are talking about the next games,
Can you post a picture of your map?
Yeah. Let me see if I can
picture
find
of your
that.
map on social media for public shaming purposes.
Well, I mean, look, the wait for Tim for Breath of the Wild 2 is going to be like nothing. He's like, I just beat the first one and now I got the second one. It's perfect.
Right.
I mean, like I've been waiting 4 years. I mean,
That's right.
Totally fine. It's okay. Tim, thank you for what you've been playing. We appreciate you.
And then
Seth.
the joke I wanted to make before I says, so you have a query about the Quarry.
He does. Seth, I'm gonna throw it over to you. What have you been playing, buddy?
Yeah, so a bunch of things. I'm doing the Justin Masson game sampler thing here lately.
Okay.
A little bit of a lot of stuff. So Pokemon Legends Arceus, I'm in the post game of that, cleaning up side missions and the little wisps that are in the biomes and whatnot, and taking care of that. I rolled credits on it a while ago. We did a full review discussion last week on my show, where we really got into the weeds on it, and that was fun and everything. But the post game is actually quite good and quite extensive in this game. So I've been really enjoying that. Put like 50 plus hours into it already, and I'm really, really enjoying that game. Yeah, Jesse's probably dwarfed me in that, So I'm having a good time with it, though. I have my little issues with the game, but overall, it's awesome. Just having a blast with it. I love popping in there and playing for like 30 minutes, flying around on my Braviary and finding a few wisps and calling it a day. And so we also we got so last week on the show we interviewed the developers of Infernax, which just came out, and they very graciously provided us a code to check the game out for review, and we've been playing a bunch of that. I really love it. If you are a fan, like I don't know if Chris HL is still hanging out in the chat, but Zelda 2 fans, pick this game up. Like it is basically like the modern realization of Zelda 2, Castlevania 2, with just like a gory heavy metal backdrop to the whole thing. It's fantastic. Really love it. That one is and
you
like
sold
they released it on Valentine's Day.
I'm on the fence.
It's like the combat of Zelda 2 and the sort of like that side-scrolling combat shield based, just like in Zelda 2. It's sort of like if they had continued on that path with Zelda, we probably would have gotten more games like Infernax. And it's super like irreverent, like it has a bunch of little Easter eggs and jokes and stuff. It's a very like tongue-in-cheek kind of game. It's really good. I like it a lot. So Infernax worth checking out. I've been playing, so I had this weird like nostalgia trip recently. My wife and I went and saw Jackass Forever, and that got me in this mood where like years and years ago I used to be skinny and I rode a skateboard for years. So I got home from watching that movie and I wanted to play Tony Hawk. So I picked up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 on Switch, and I've been playing a bunch of that.
Nice.
And really, really loving that. I love those games, and it's just been, it's been a blast from the past for me. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me, though. I picked up Grapple Dog. I've been playing that off and on a little bit. That's a little indie game that's really unique, kind of like a GBA style platformer, but like the movement is kind of out of Bionic Commando. Like you have like a grapple hook that you use to move around. It's pretty fun, really colorful, really cute. I like it. But,
what was that called
just
again?
kind of Grapple Dog.
Grapple Dog.
Interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
It's cool. Definitely like watch a trailer or something. You'll get the second you lay eyes on it, you'll know if it's for you or not. It definitely is kind of like GBA style visuals, a really funky like soundtrack, like that I wasn't prepared for the soundtrack to be as funky as it is. It's like straight out of Jet Set Radio or something. It makes me happy. So, but yeah, that's about it for me, guys.
Jesse, what you been playing?
So I've been playing, continuing Pokemon Legends Arceus. Last week I said I hope to beat it. I am so close to finishing. Yeah, I finally caught that Bonsley, which is the last Babymon.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Not Bonsley. It was Magby. So I still have Magmy, Pichu, and Munchlax to finish the Dex entries. So, and then I have the 4 Fossilmon that I still have to get. And I don't. So 7 Pokemon total to complete the Dex.
And you can't breed in this game. Like, come on.
No, you can't. And so once I have one of everything, then I can go get Arceus. So I have to get 241 to get Arceus, which is then 242. And then so I have 4 Pokemon away from getting to Arceus. Then I have 7 Pokemon away from completing the Dex, of which I will probably be 1,000 points away from being ranked 10. And that's going to be the hardest grind to get those because you only get them 10 and 20 points at a time. I was hoping it would be around, I would line it up nice, but no, I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to miss it. So I'm going to have to do a lot of like hunting down Pokemon and feeding it food and stupid things like that to get those points.
See, you talking about this and you guys talking about the after the credits stuff, right?
Yeah.
Especially with you were mentioning, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but it's basically there's more to it when you've got everything to get that final Pokemon. Like you gotta have all the Pokemon.
You gotta have the final Pokemon, yes.
You gotta have everything in the Pokédex.
When you look at the Dex, you have 3 numbers in the top. The first is the number you've seen. The second is the number you've caught, and then the third is the number of completed Dex pages.
Yeah.
So that's you have to have both the first and the second at 241 in order to get to Arceus.
Okay, so let me ask you this. It's basic because I'm all about this game because of the story. That's what's got me into this game. I love the story of this game, what's going on, learning about where this whole time thing is going on and all that fun stuff. So I want to when I roll the credits, is that going to be it for that story?
No, there's more story after credits.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But if you want, you'll know when the story ends.
Okay.
At that point, then it's all you have left is finish the quests and complete the Dex.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know where the act numbers are, if there are any, but what I call Act 3, before the credits rolled, I was literally angry at the game for what they did. I'm not going to say I'm not going to say what they did. I don't know. So Tim laughs. So you gotten that far, or you're not that far?
No,
yet?
You're not that
like
far I said,
yet.
I'm at the cave. So
okay. No. Yeah, I think you have to have all 5 down for.
Yeah, I only got 3.
Yeah.
So I was really angry at the game, but it does redeem itself, and I was okay with it at the end. But still, I did not like how they handled it.
The final act is weirdly paced.
Seth knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So in terms of, I think I'm in the 85-hour range in this game.
Wow.
I have completed all 94 side quests. They're all done. One of them, though, the last one I couldn't get the trigger because it's a continuation of a previous quest where it marked the quest complete, but I never went back to talk to the original person, which sets the flag to let me get the second side of it. So once I talked to her, then her quest, I have a quest light comes up, but I still couldn't talk to her again. I had to leave the building and then come back. This is the nurse in the headquarters building.
Oh, I had the same thing happen to me. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once I left and came back, then I was able to get that last quest and then
the 100 herbs or leeks or whatever.
Yeah, 100 medicinal leeks.
Yep.
I think I had 30, I collected 50, and then I just bought the last 30 because I didn't want to do that
it's
again.
not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, so I am so close to finishing, and I was hoping to get to Triangle Strategy Demo. I was hoping to get to Ocean's Heart. I was hoping to get the Voice of Cards. None of them have been played yet. So, but I did put about 2 or 3 hours into a game I bought on Steam I hinted at Tim, hey, check this out. It's called Happy Humble's Burger Farm. I found out about this because I saw on the Game Theorist channel, Austin put out a video, and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to play this a little bit before I watch this video. I don't want to be spoiled like I was spoiled with Inscription, and I was spoiled with Doki Doki Literature Club. And so I put a few hours into it. It's one of those games where what is really going on is not what the first 30 minutes of the game looks like it is. I didn't get far, and I'm probably not going to ever play this again. So then
is this another one of those games where it's like a bunch of Japanese girls standing around, and then
no.
This hamburger.
Eating hamburgers.
A hamburger out of her flesh.
This is
it's a fourth wall, and then it's like, oh, you're the hamburger.
This isn't psychological horror. This is flat horror. So, it's So I'd say observe, continue with caution on this one, but it's interesting. This would be a game I would want to play. I want to watch. I wouldn't want to play it. I want to watch someone play it. So I may look at other Let's Plays on Twitch or something of this game.
Gotcha.
But the lore goes deep, and it's weird.
The hamburger lore.
Yeah,
hamburger lore.
Happy's Humble Burger Farm.
There's the map.
There's that map.
The map of shame.
Yes.
Holy cow.
That's 55 hours.
I love it, man.
Of me just spending time in that corner of the map.
You're just enjoying it, dude. I love it.
I've been enjoying it for 5 years.
One of these days, Tim's going to be in a nursing home. And he's going to be paying some kid to defeat Calamity Ganon. So
I'm not going to pay anybody to do it. I'm going to be doing it.
3,000 days have passed.
It's been 84 years.
Yes. Mecca wants me to mention that Crunchyroll's on Switch, and he says in Discord, yeah, here's Jesse's Game of the Year. I'm like, yeah, but I won't download this because I use Apple TV and my iPad to watch my anime. I don't need to watch it on my Switch. I'm sure someone will have some use out of it, but that's not for me.
Yeah. So I've been playing one game.
I see.
Called Yoshi's Crafted World.
It
has reemerged from the vault on my Switch because I remembered that there is post-game content if you 100% it. And so I want to do that.
Is this like
and I don't know what
final level?
It's gripped me and it won't let go. I even though it's super annoying. Like I was playing this game the other night, and I was in the mountain level where there was like this level called Magnets and Mousers. And I swear I played that level like 8 times.
You have to.
Because of going back and getting stuff. And then the robots like, oh, I wanted some crystal boxes. I wanted a mine cart that's been flipped upside down. I wanted this. And there's like literally like 12 of those fetch quests for the cardboard tube robot. And each one gets you a flower. So I'm going to persevere. This is why I said I'm not going to start Majora's Mask this weekend because all I'm going to be playing is Yoshi's Crafted World. It sucked me in. I loved the game when it came out. It came out at a really weird, awkward time when I didn't have a lot of time to put in it. So I busted my way through it to finish it. And then I never went back.
The game's great, actually.
It's
really
fantastic.
Good.
It's just game,
just play through it though normally. Don't subject yourself to the 100% slog.
No, I'm doing it. It's happening now.
Oh,
I've committed. Me and Light Blue Yoshi, we're going for 100%. But
I want 100% this Pokemon game. Artie's going to 100% this game.
Yep. Tim is going to be working this weekend on Breath of the Wild. So
not until I finish Arceus.
Next week,
first.
Tim's like 100% Breath of the Wild.
Once Arceus is done,
next week he's going to be like, "Hey, I unlocked a new region of the map."
Tim's got a month left on Arceus at his rate.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So It's like the episode of SpongeBob. 3,000 days later. Yeah, this is Yoshi's Crafted World until something, I guess. Like for me at this point, I'm waiting on Mario Kart DLC, and that's about it. So it's going to be this into Majora's Mask. And I've got to, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this just for Jesse.
Okay.
I've started playing Picross 3D on my 3DS.
I love that game. So
yes,
good.
Can we not get a new Picross 3D game?
Yes, please.
It's so good.
Yes. My wife has been asking for that one too.
Yep, it's so good.
I remember playing through the original Picross 3D twice, and then I played through the Picross 3D 2. I know I did at least once. I might have played through that one twice.
Also, I've been playing this game. I don't know if you guys have heard about it. It's a little indie game called Wordle.
Never heard of it.
But I've moved on. Now. I'm still doing the Wordle, but I've moved on to Quordle.
Oh.
Quordle. Here's what it is. 4 Wordles at once. And every guess, like when you guess your 5-letter word, it's the same guess in every grid, but you get 8 chances to find all 4 words.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yep. So,
okay.
And I have a tip for anybody who's out there playing totally non-Nintendo related. But here it is. I read an article yesterday that the perfect opening word for Wordle has been found.
Isn't it? It's like crane or crates or something like that?
It's a rose.
Oh, okay. See, a rise has always been my starting word.
By percentage, a rose is the high. Those letters have the highest percentages of appearing in solutions so far.
Okay.
So it'll probably change, but right now, a rose is a safe bet.
See, you upgraded to Quordle. I updated to Nerdle.
Oh no, I can't do that one at all.
See, I am 4 for 4 on Nerdle. When I played Wordle, I was like at 60% because I'm lousy at word games.
Nerdle is figuring out what math equation.
I couldn't. Yeah, I can't do that.
Like 9. It's like 9
characters.
boxes.
Yes, it's 8 characters.
Or yeah,
you have to do basic arithmetic functions with proper order of operations in an equation that is mathematically correct as each guess.
Already lost. I'm way too stupid for that.
Like I went to the page and the instructions popped up, and I looked at it on my phone. And I said, "Nope."
See, the Picross brain in me likes Nerdle.
Why are there not more Picross games on mobile devices?
Because you have to do touchscreen, and if the 10x10s and even 15x15s get boring after a while, it's the fun puzzles like your 30x40s. You're not going to do that on a touchscreen on an iPhone, and even on an iPad, that's ugly unless you have Apple Pencil.
My wife has two Picross games she plays every day.
Yeah,
every day.
Some of them, I played a few of them. Some of them worked well. Konami, I think, has a good one.
She loved that one, and she's like, "It's got all these video game characters on it." Like, yeah, and you don't know who any of them are, do you? And she's like, "Nope." It's just
I knew maybe 40% of them.
I know. She would show it to me, and she'd be like, "Do you know what this one is?" No, I don't. And you don't. They
dig deep in their library for some of that artwork.
Yeah. Well, guys, that's all for what we've been playing. Let's turn on the community spotlight, shall we?
All right. This is where we do traditionally, Seth, our guest, gets to talk about what he does on the internet with his pal, Eric.
I do a lot of things on the internet, especially with my pal, Eric. Yeah, my good friend and co-host, Eric, we produce a weekly Nintendo variety show called All N, ALLN, letter N for Nintendo. It's called All In, a Nintendo podcast. And basically the idea is that, just like you guys, we cover, the weekly news and stuff like that. But we also have rotating variety segments. Every week we do a top 5. Every week we spotlight an indie game on the Switch eShop. Sometimes that includes like interviewing independent developers. And then we have kind of a rotating main segment that can be anything from an interview to a retrospective to a game review. This week we're doing a retrospective on BioShock on the show. So have a lot of fun doing that. As part of that, one of our sister shows, a spin-off show of that, is a show that I produce called Keep Nintendo Weird, which is a weird Nintendo podcast about loving weird Nintendo games. And we just kind of gush about a weird Nintendo game for, 45 minutes to an hour. And, Tim's been on the show talking about Elite Beat Agents, and we just have fun. It's just a fun game. I just recently started streaming it on Twitch, and we just recently hit Twitch affiliate. So Mecca points out here in the chat that our podcast usually does hit between 2.5 and 3 hours. It's a long show. We encourage people to jump in with timestamps and stuff. We provide timestamps in the episode description, so y'all can freely pop around if you want to. And that's kind of the whole idea behind All In, is like to provide variety, to kind of like have a lot of different content, a lot of different facets of being a Nintendo fan. So like we'll dig deep sometimes. We like to kind of take our time and really kind of dig into topics. Like if we're doing a review for Pokemon Legends Arceus, we want to dedicate a whole segment to it, and sit there. I mean, we like our review last week of that. I mean, we sat there and just really talked for like an hour about the game. And we really enjoy, that's why it's All In, we really enjoy kind of going all in on these topics. So it does end up winds up going long, but hopefully there's also quality with the quantity.
Yes, definitely.
So that's the bulk of it. In terms of the stuff, we always make YouTube videos on our YouTube channel, Twitch. All that stuff is just All In Podcast, all one word. You can find us on Twitter and Twitch and all that, and YouTube and all your podcast feeds. And I always say this every time I get the chance to hang out with you guys, because you guys really did like inspire me to get into the Nintendo thing specifically. I've been podcasting for like 12 plus years, but you guys inspired me to hone in on the Nintendo thing, and coming into this awesome community has been so huge for me. I'll never be able to repay you guys and the people in this community for what you guys have given me. So huge. Love you guys.
Feeling is mutual, and I love hearing how you spread the love with the other podcasts whenever you get a chance to go anywhere and stuff like that. So it's very different nowadays, it seems like, too, where it's not necessarily competitive. It's more of sharing. We all talk about our things differently, and share each other's knowledge and all that kind of stuff, and have fun with it. So
I love
that's
that.
what I like about it, the giant Nintendo community that we're in, and even beyond Nintendo too, with other things. So it's really cool, and it's always a blast to have you on. Thanks for coming on, and again, we'll have to get you on along with Eric too sometime.
That'd be great. Eric would love to. He recently Retro Logic, another Nintendo Dads family podcast. He was recently on Retro Logic, and that was his first guest appearance.
Nice.
And he did a great job there. So Eric's always, he and I both always down to guest and just hang out, connect, and chat with you guys. Anybody, in this community, we love it, man. It's been so huge for both of us. I've been kind of making content on the internet for a really long time, just screaming into the void. So it's so nice to be part of a community of people that you can connect with, make stuff with, and lean on, and make like legitimately great friends. So yes. It's been huge for me, man. I just appreciate you guys so much.
Awesome. Thanks again for the kind words, and again, if I can talk, the feeling is mutual. So I'm always impressed by the shows you guys put together. They're always very well put together, and when Like that's why we are saying we're a dumpster fire compared to a lot of the shows like you guys and the others out there. So
Not
'cause you guys
true. It's
take
just
the time.
it's just different flavors of the
It's different
same great
flavors for
thing,
sure.
man. That's it.
For sure. But thanks again for coming on the show and
Thanks,
for
man.
sharing your love with us, Nintendo love with us. So
Yes.
speaking of Retro Logic, we're going to talk about the Nintendo Dads family of podcasts. Retro Logic being one of them, which has Dan and Dat Fast John and third strongest mole Sam. They hosted their episode 70, where they have a WoW story featuring Eston Huff. That was their special guest on the show on episode 70. And then
Great episode.
Their hottest Nintendo Direct takes they talk about, and is Valentine's Day a real holiday, as they talk about. So if you haven't heard, listen to them, go check them out there. Again, that's Retro Logic. Then there's the Dads After Dark show, which is that is John and Drew. They handle our monthly mayhem here at the Nintendo Dads. They had recently dropped their episode 92, and they talked about going back to PlayStation. They talked about their final Pokemon Legends Arceus review as well. And then facts about Santa. So very interesting topics there. So
Hashtag
again,
Santa facts.
Dad's After Dark show is only for the adults. It's for when you put the kids to bed and you want something to listen to. That's good topics, though. Stuff that other shows won't touch with a 10-foot pole. So, and then Game Pass News. They recently recorded their episode 41, I believe it was, because they just dropped at the beginning of the week, episode 40, where Nick and Sean talk about lagging Halo Infinite numbers. They talk about Dying Light 2 issues, and they talk about P3 and Game Pass at inception. Not sure what that means, but
P3 like Phil Spencer? That's like his Twitter handle.
I think that's what that means. But definitely go take a listen to those guys. I got to listen to their newest episode live and had a lot of fun with that. I got to listen to what they've been playing. I missed the beginning, so I'll have to go back and listen. But that's our family of podcasts. And with that, don't forget to listen to any of those shows. If you're in Xbox, if you're into PlayStation or Xbox, you got the Dads After Dark show. And then
I'm going on Retro Logic next week, actually. So
nice.
Get a double dose.
Double dose of Seth beyond his own shows. You get to listen to him on all the other shows.
Yes.
All right. So moving on, we got a couple questions from the community. Of course, we've got a voicemail from Christian, and we have, of course, a question from Mecha Dragon, who always provides us content when it comes to community content. So, Jesse, you got something that you were going to say?
Oh, I was just
you're smiling. Oh, okay. I thought you were smiling, or you're just smiling at the fact that Mecha Dragon always gives us a question.
So the fact that you're commenting that he's always giving us a question.
Yes. Gotcha. All right. Mecha Dragon, don't be afraid to take a week off, by the way. Just teasing. Anyways, with the recent announcement of the Wii U and 3DS eShop soon closing, this also means that this will be the final hurrah, for a lack of a better term, for the Virtual Console, as the Wii U and 3DS were the only Nintendo consoles left to offer that service. Now I have tons of memories when it comes to downloading games off the Virtual Console, both on Wii, Wii U, and 3DS. It was basically all I downloaded during the droughts the Wii U had. I want to know your dad's memories for the Virtual Console. What games did you all download? What games is on the Virtual Console that you wished would be on the Switch Online? Did you enjoy the service and wish Nintendo would bring it back? Looking forward to the podcast while I sit down and cry over the news. Thanks, Mecha Dragon. So, Seth, how about you? Do you have any of your memories? I know we went over a lot of the facts, and the data behind what we have behind the 3DS and the Wii U, but memories.
When it comes to Virtual Console specifically, I'll point to two examples, one for each. So for 3DS, I was really happy to have a way to play to play Mole Mania on 3DS Virtual Console. That's a really, really great Game Boy game. and it's not the kind of thing that's like readily available on a lot of other consoles. I just love being able to play that. That was one that I was really happy to see pop up on the 3DS Virtual Console. And yeah, Mecha points out pretty obscure too. For Wii U, there is we had a couple of instances of like games that didn't get localized here coming out on the Wii U Virtual Console. So best example I can point to is Kuru Kuru Kururin, and that's like a really weird
It just rolls off the
GBA.
tongue.
Yeah, perfect. You know, it's a really weird Japanese like puzzle game kind of, where it's almost like Operation, like you're trying to go through these levels without touching the walls, but you have this like helicopter blade that's constantly spinning, so you have to like kind of angle things correctly and make these tight corners, and so it's really fun. And they made like 3 or 4 of those games, and the Wii U made a home for it. So that was my first introduction to that series. And I was really happy to see that. So it was kind of cool to have like some of those, you know, games that never got localized put out on the Virtual Console here in the States.
Nice. Jesse.
I bought a lot of the Virtual Console library because, you know, before we launched, you know, I would have been, see, that was 2006. So I was like in my early 30s. So during, you know, in my 20s and 30s, you know, that's when I started learning about the emulation scene. So, you know, I had my collection of files, and so when I heard about the Wii, I'm like, oh, cool! This is kind of a, you know, nice way to do it. Make it easy to access these older games, and I was kind of, yeah, I was all in from the start. So I bought their early games. I bought the Super Mario Brothers, the Zelda and stuff, and, you know, played through a lot of those. And then when I think what I did like when the Wii U launched, they actually had, if you did a system transfer from the Wii to Wii U, then now the Wii U knows your Wii purchase history.
Right.
And then if they when they re-release the game again on that virtual console, you were able to quote unquote upgrade to the Wii U version for a fraction of the price. So instead of paying $5 again for your NES games, it was only $1. So I'm like, yeah, I will buy $1. I probably wouldn't have paid $5 again because I could just go into Wii mode and then play them. But yeah, so they got their dollars out of me. It was like $1 for NES, $1.50 for Super Nintendo, and $2 for N64 games or something like that, instead of 10. So yeah,
Right.
that was it. So I double dipped on a lot of those titles, and then I did like that. You know, the Wii U offered Wii games. They didn't call them Virtual Console, but I kind of in my head did.
Right. Right.
They're, and basically, it's the way it worked is the game you launch the game from the Wii U menu, but it actually put it into Wii mode.
Yeah.
And
which was really interesting. Yeah.
Because, and I found that out because when I did my Wii to Wii U transfer, it copied all my save data. So when I launched Mario Galaxy, it had my save data.
Yes.
So yeah, so I thought that was kind of cool. And then, excuse me, then a lot of the games they offered at a discount, you know, early initially. So like Metroid Prime Trilogy, you could buy it now for $20, but it was for the first month or so it was only 10.
Yeah.
And I knew that was not a game I would ever play, but for $10, I'm like, yeah, I'll put it in my library just to say I have it.
Yes. And I played that a lot when it transferred over, and I upgraded it and all that for the Wii U. And I played the trilogy a lot on there. So
yeah, I was hoping that GBA would get more Virtual Console love on the 3DS, because that makes a lot more sense than putting it on the Wii U, because those pixels are ugly. You know, if you're looking at it on a 65-inch screen.
But it was unfortunate though, because of the issues that 3DS had run into sales wise from the beginning. And that's why we had the ambassador program. And and we got those GBA games. And unfortunately, they were locked to that because Iwata said that basically we were not going to make any more GBA games. We just have these 10 for the ambassador program.
Because the GBA had a sleep mode, kind of.
Yeah.
The way the emulator worked, it wasn't compatible with the 3DS's sleep mode. So and I found that out the hard way when I was doing a run through of Metroid Fusion, and it said that I had 27 hours in it because
Yeah.
I just put it into sleep mode, and
And the screen was still on and everything.
No, the screen did shut off, but the game was still running in the background.
I thought it was still.
Oh.
Yeah, you had to do some weird button combination.
So it's like Ellen, you put it, so you go into the menu, you put it into sleep mode from the game point of view.
Yeah.
Which again, the game's still running, but the screen's off, so it does save battery, and then I can put it into sleep. At that point, in that mode, the timer's not running. So then I open it up and hit L and R, and I'm back in the game again.
Right.
So yeah, and I think they just never found a solution to that, which is why we never got any official virtual console on the 3DS, and we just had those 10 games.
See, I was under the impression, I distinctly remember Iwata saying that we are not coming out with any more GBA games because of the ambassador program. They didn't want to make it feel like, because it was like all those people who paid the higher price for the 3DS, and then when they dropped the price,
and like the game had got an update, so you got the full normal retail version, which did have a different rotating screen than the original virtual console. But yeah, I think it was because they couldn't find a fix for that sleep bug.
Probably the real reason then, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they could have backpedaled on that and just been like, no, these ones are exclusive, but we can release other ones.
Yeah. Because they released them all on the Wii U,
right?
More, but never back on the 3DS. And I always thought it was because of what Iwata said.
Right.
Then the Wii U did try some DS virtual console games. Because of how the dual screen
things, yeah.
Some games worked well, some games didn't. But at least
that was an interesting thing.
At least they tried.
Right.
You know, I the one thing I wish that they would have had on the 3DS, and it would have made perfect sense to do so, is Virtual Boy Virtual Console.
Yes, 1000%.
Because of the 3D. Yep. And actually, I was going to bring that up, but lost track of that when we were talking about all that stuff with the 3DS library and stuff. Is that Virtual Boy? We've lost that because of the system, because of what it was, right? It's a virtual reality type gaming system that more than likely we wouldn't get virtual console for, or those games to be able to buy.
Yeah, I think there was only like 11 or 13 games in North America. There might be another 5 or 7 Japanese games that didn't make it outside.
But the other aspect of it is that they were able to do the compilation on the DS of all of the Game & Watch games. So why couldn't they do something similar for, Virtual Boy? But anyways, again, it goes back to the whole preservation choices and stuff.
Because the Virtual Boy library is so small, it makes it easy to collect for. So people who are wanting to start collecting will probably start with that, which is why they're harder to find and they are expensive if you do find them, because they're all collector's items. So, it probably is a high price for what it is, but if they did release a bundle, even with all 11 games or all 13 games for, say, $40, full retail 3DS price.
Right.
That's still a hell of a lot cheaper than trying to collect them and playing them on a system that
definitely
is prone to failure due to how the system works.
I hope one day that we'll get it in some fashion of Virtual Boy or any of these other games that we're not going to have access to right away. But
so one thing that surprised me, I learned this about the Virtual Boy on a video where someone basically made a Virtual Boy handheld system with the normal screen.
Yeah.
That's just not in, but the way it renders each eye because there's only like one laser that draws one horizontal line, and the way it draws it like a scan line, like from up down, is there's a mirror that rotates at 50 hertz, and so that laser beam's changing for every scan line 50 times a
Yeah.
second from both
It's
eyes.
crazy.
That's
Crazy.
like that, and that's why you can't. It's not a mobile system, because you can't move with that thing on because it'll disrupt that mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
That just it's amazing what they were able to accomplish with that thing to even bring it out too. So my virtual console memory is basically going back to the ambassador program, being able to get the games that we were able to get on the GBA, like Minish Cap, which was one of the games I didn't get to play on the GBA. So I was happy to get it when we got it there for the 3DS. But my story with that is that I got pretty close to beating it. I forget the percentage I was at. And unfortunately, this was the time when Sammy was much younger and didn't know better, and decided to start over and erase that file.
Saw that coming.
And when I went to go boot it up, it was like gone. And I haven't played and finished Minish Cap since because of that. It's like it was just like at that time I was like, I'm not doing this all over again right now. I'll come back
We've
to it
all
again
been
sometime.
there, man. Yeah.
So I still have it on my 3DS to this day. It's still
think
here.
I did beat it on when I played it on the 3DS when that first launched, 11 years ago. But I haven't played it since. That is a game I want to go back to.
I thought about playing it again and trying to beat it because I pretty much forgot a lot of what I've done since then.
I always think I want to do all the Kinstone quests until I start, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do this again.
Well, and then so I'm thinking either I'm going to play that one, not until after I beat Breath of the Wild. I'll tell people that. So, but I also thought
to stream it, but you likely don't have the hardware to.
I don't have the hardware to stream the 3DS version, no. Unless
you can stream the Wii U version, I guess, but
I don't have that connected right now, though. But who knows? Maybe Nintendo will come out with a GBA NSO platform, so we'll see. It's quite possible. But anyways,
people want to play that Metroid again.
Yes, and I'm hoping to be able to get back to it one day. If not, I may just do like you were talking about, Jesse. Go see somebody finish the game off so I could see what happened there. So because it seems like I only had like a few hours left to beat in there. So, but I've beaten I can't say everyone. I've beaten most 2D Zeldas, except for the Oracle games. I haven't beat those.
Yeah,
those are the
Oracle games and the Triforce Heroes are the only Zelda games I've not completed.
Yeah, I've beaten
including
all of the
3D.
other ones. 3D ones is harder for me to beat.
Triforce Heroes is actually underrated. If you have two other people to play that game with, it's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, the Triforce Heroes is a blast. So
that game has to be played 3-player locally. So you can talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
I tried playing it online and no.
And I also say
solo, no.
I also say the same thing about Federation Force. I also enjoy that game
probably
a lot,
true.
So.
Totally agree. Yep.
So, but that's my memories of that. All right. So with that, we have a voicemail from Christian.
Hey, Nintendo Dads, it's me, Christian, and I was just doing some research on Nintendo Switch Pro, and I know it's probably too cliche now, but anyways, I saw something online, and it was talking about AMD working on an update called FSR. So I guess it's the Fidelity FX Super Resolution. Supposedly is an update to the Switch that may come and cause the Switch to have like super better, awesome graphics. And, more power to Nintendo if they can make that happen. But man, oh man, I feel like it's just too good to be true with this aging hardware to have like PlayStation 5 graphics on a 5-year-old Nintendo Switch. I just don't know, especially if you don't have to buy anything that's hardware related. If it's all updates, like just software that you have to download. So I don't know. I just find that's kind of weird. I don't understand it, and I was hoping you guys can kind of explain it, because to me it just sounds like having oatmeal for dinner and just pretending you're having steak and potatoes, basically. So, anyways, I hope you guys are having a good day. Thanks again for all your hard work on the show. Have a great night.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that's like the Matrix, right? When they were eating that porridge stuff when
Yeah.
they got Neo out of there, and they were like, "We just, just close your eyes and think of it something else." So yeah.
We talked a bit about this back when the Switch Pro rumors were rampant.
Yes.
This wouldn't be something you can just. This is a hardware update. This isn't just a software update that could be applied to the older Switch. So this is what we thought the Switch Pro could be. It basically uses like machine learning, AI buzzword, insert buzzword here, to kind of upscale a 1080p
upscale resolution. Yeah.
Resolution to a 1440p resolution in real time. So, you're not, so textures are still in 1080p, so it kind of does a best guess, and it's not, some things may not look great, but in general it does. I've seen side by side comparisons, and most of the time it does look pretty good. So that's what we thought the Switch Pro was going to be. It still doesn't mean it won't happen later, like in its Switch successor, that what could have 1080p. If they still keep the Switch model, which I think they should, but apparently they said something like they want to find a new gimmick for the next system. I'm like, no, this one works. But anyway, like if the handheld itself is 1080p, they could use this technology to bump it up to 1440 or 2160, for your 4K display.
Yeah,
As opposed to having the GPU render it natively at that resolution, it'll still render it in 1080p and then upscale it before the output, so it's less load on the GPU.
That's how I understand it. It sounds to me like, and I'm ignorant about a lot of this stuff, but I was reading some of the stuff with the FFR and all that. The reason this kind of like came back up in the conversation was I think the person's name is like Oatmeal Dome or something like that, who's like a famous, like they go on Twitter and they data mine like every Nintendo thing. And they were data mining the online play test for Nintendo Switch Sports and found evidence that led them to believe that that game has got the like functionality in it to support that AI, upscaling thing. If Nintendo chooses to do that in the future, what it sounds like is that, games like Nintendo Switch Sports are prepared on a software level, at least, to take advantage of it if they choose to implement it in a Switch Pro, Switch 2, whatever. So that's how I understand it anyway.
Yeah, and back when we were talking about the Pro stuff, I believe that also, I think some of it is related to what he was talking about being software updated or software being updated to NVIDIA side. What it was talking about was that there is a updated version of the chip that Nintendo uses, NVIDIA's chip, that would allow to use that NVIDIA upscaling feature. And I think that's what that was maybe referring to, or maybe that's where the confusion is lying, that it is kind of the same chip, just an upgraded version with upgraded firmware or whatever you want to call it, software on that chip to be able to do that upscaling that they were talking about. So that would be pretty tremendous if they did have something hidden in that chip that we didn't know about, that they were able to push to the Switch. Like if it's sitting there in the OLED model or something that we're not aware of, and they push an upgrade and hey, look, now we can upscale to 1440. That would be something else, I think. But I don't think that's happening. So, and I'd be happy to be wrong.
Oh yeah.
So, but I do think that I do speculate, I don't know if it makes sense or not, but I do believe that Nintendo was was really going to release a Pro model, as not necessarily the OLED model, but because of shortages and things like that, they had no choice but to release what they could, an iteration of the Switch with better components that they had available, and not the updated processor part.
The fact that the software allegedly is supporting such a technology that doesn't exist, it had to have existed somewhere in development.
Exactly.
Yeah. So will we get a Pro or whatever the next version of the Switch is, an updated version? Nintendo will always do Nintendo stuff. So I would not surprise me if they came out with another Switch with a slight upgrade. So yeah. But very, very good questions, and stuff that I always speculate about too, Christian, is like, could they do this? Would they do this? And yes, it would be awesome if they did that, upgrade it and stuff like that. So it's actually kind of like a dream where it's like you wake up and Nintendo announces, hey, we've been hiding this feature in here that we'll upgrade and turn on now that we have this capability or whatever.
It's
like
nice to know that they're, like the Bluetooth thing. Yeah. It's nice to know that they're at least thinking about like future proofing their games. Yeah. In the event that they do release a Switch Pro or whatever that can upscale. It's nice to know that like I'm going to be able to throw in this game or that game and it's not going to, be 1080p stretched. It's going to actually, right. At least with AI render appropriately. So that'd be nice.
Excellent. Great questions from the community as always. And if you have a question out there, any of our listeners, don't forget to send us your questions via email to nintendodads@gmail.com or our Twitter page or our Patreon page if you're there, or in our Discord. You can send us any of the questions throughout any of the week, even if it's like right now when you're listening and you think of a question, send it so you don't forget, and then we'll get it on the next show, hopefully. But with that, gentlemen, that is episode 363 in the books. Thanks again to Seth Sturgill for stopping by, and
thanks, guys,
and giving us all your insights there and stepping in for business Justin when he needed to be here, but he popped in and out of here. Jesse, thanks again, always being the employee of the year. Now it's time to close the show. Thanks to all our subscribers on YouTube. We have 5,983 subscribers. We're getting closer to the 6,000 mark. One of these days, I know all of a sudden we're just going to push back 6,000 and past the 6,000, and all of a sudden I'm going to be like talking about 6,100 subscribers or something like that. But thank you to all our current subscribers and future subscribers. Thanks to all of you that have been watching on Twitch. I'm pointing over here because that's where I can see Twitch right now, is over here. Thank you for watching live and for subscribing and for following. We have 1,202 followers on Twitch and 16 Twitch subscribers. All of you followers out there, please remember to use your Prime subscriptions. If you have those, your Prime subs, you get them free. You have one use. If you're not using them anywhere, please come pop in sometime. And I think you can even do it while we're not even live. You can come in here and subscribe with your free Amazon Prime subscription at any time. So do that and you'll get access to our Discord community, along with all the other people who are on Patreon. Also, don't forget the ads that we've been talking about today with our NINDADS code for Manscaped. You get 20% off and free shipping with them. Or Goodar, you can get some glasses with 15% off with them. Check out our merch store via nintendodads.org/merch. Huge thanks to our Patreon producers, Dave Ernsberger, Antonio Contrenio, Solo Something. Thank you all for being our Patreon producers. And thank you for everybody else who's our Patreon as well. Any amount that helps us keep these lights on and makes us allow us to do all the things that we plan on doing and have done in the past, and prizes and all that fun stuff. Anyways, again, check out our website, nintendodads.org, for all our latest on YouTube, tweets, podcasts, and all that kind of stuff. All our social medias, you can find us under Nintendo Dads. Or you can email us again at nintendodads@gmail.com. Join us in Discord and give us any feedback there. Call in and leave a voicemail at 929-25-NDADS or 929-256-327 to leave a good old-fashioned voicemail like Christian did. So with that, big thanks to OC Remix for the music throughout the show. And again, download our podcast at your favorite podcast app of choice and leave us a review. 5 stars only. Anything less, you can give to the Mega Dads. 5 stars for Seth's show, all in as well. He needs those as well. So
yes, please.
We all enjoy those 5 stars. Anything less, again, goes to the Mega Dads. Give it to them. So with that, with Jesse, with Marty, with Seth, with Justin, who popped in a few times, thank you all for stopping by. This is Tim, Jesse, and Seth signing off. Have a good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening into Nintendo Dads.
We sound like the goddamn Nintendo dads all of a sudden.